Alrighty, let's go ahead and get ourselves in the position here just a bit, and we'll see if we can start this off right. Okay, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom, and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company ever. Let's go. So, it's been a minute since I've had a chance to do one of these, because I've been doing a lot of the what's it called? I've been doing a lot of the I'll name the segment later, and I'm also getting kind of ambitious with Goutness 2025. I'm thinking about, instead of doing 12 days till, I'm thinking about extending it to 25 days of Goutness. I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of thinking about it. So we'll see. We'll see. That's a few months off, and I'm kind of starting early, just in case, because you never know, life comes at you fast. In any case, you guys ain't here for all that. You guys are here for the nonsense that is going on, which seems to be like a yearly tradition, to be honest with you, at this point, between DSP and LTG. I'll name the segment later. Should have already came out. To be honest, if depending on when this comes out, you should have seen it the day before. And by now, I'm pretty confident LTG has already responded. And then I'm sure DSP on the Bottom Bitch podcast will respond back to him. We'll see. They'll probably go at it. Well, DSP will try to stretch it all weekend, obviously. Like I said, he's done this at least 2 years in a row. I want to tell you he did this last year, but he definitely did it in 2023, which is what we're actually going to go over today. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into my favorite segment. Hopefully your favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. Hold on a second. Gotta make sure we make it official. There you go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, another year and another version of or another example of lolcow on lolcow crime, and somehow the FGC being involved in it. For those of you who know and or who've been keeping up, DSP has been trying to he's been trying to get the attention of the FGC for quite a while, a number of years. But this year in particular, with him trying to appeal to Ernesto, or Button Check, as well as Justin, trying to get Max's attention, trying to get other people's attention as well, it's become a thing. The irony of it all, ladies and gentlemen, I've kind of been formulating this honestly since Side Scrollers, because if you go off of my particular thesis and or way of thinking, everything DSP does is interconnected in some way, shape, or form. The way he bitches and complains about LowTierGod ignoring him is, in truth, no different than how he treated Keemstar during lolcow podcast, right? When they were trying to formulate all that. I'm actually working on a video on that right now, by the way. But that's the thing. Especially with fucking lolcow live imploding on itself on multiple fronts, which is hilarious to watch. In any case, the way DSP is complaining about LTG was the exact same way that Keemstar was complaining about DSP when he was trying to court him for the podcast, for that project. So and DSP, you remember, DSP justified it 10 ways till Sunday on why he felt the way he felt and why he did what he did. And I also got a video coming out where I'm going to explain how DSP purposely sabotaged or attempted to sabotage lolcow podcast, which kind of, sort of, he did, if you think about it. And that's the reason why lolcow live exists, because lolcow podcast isn't a thing, because DSP was scheming with somebody else to take ownership of it away from Keem. But we'll get to that on another day. But I found interesting parallels in the fact that the way DSP justified him treating Keem like shit and ignoring him and trying to stifle him at all stops, LTG is doing it to him. Well, LTG is just ignoring him altogether unless he pays the toll. And DSP is going about it, crying like he's the victim. And it's all jealousy and envy, and it's resentment on LTG's part, and that's why LTG won't come out and play with him. Whatever. Anywho, we're going to go over this video. It's brought to us by Memology. Well, DSP tries in Memology. He was in my last This same video was actually featured in my last video. I'm actually going to go over it this time though, and I'll talk a little bit about what's gone on in the in a recent year or so, in our current year even, and I'll compare some of that back to what happened in here. So it might be an interesting watch, maybe. There's definitely some correlations that I think should be met. In any case, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And let's see if we can go ahead and set up our board here. See, we're not really playing chess, though. My DSP is not functioning on that level. Let's do that. Let's do a coffee shop. So, something nice. Something pleasant. Something pleasant. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our board here. Or let's go ahead and set the stage. Let me go ahead and set up our ambiance here. Okay. Boy memology. Okay, we got that off, so you guys don't have to worry about an echo. I'm on top of the audio today, kind of, sort of. So in a rare display on my part. Let's see here. Let's see. And as you guys, let me reiterate it again. Big ups to DSP Tries It Memology 101. The link to this video will be down in the description, by the way, and whatnot, so you guys can kind of touch back on your resources. And let's give you guys the particulars. What do we got here? Okay, let's see. This is DSP explodes over DMs from LTG, giving him an ultimatum to fight him in Street Fighter 6. This is from, peep the date, this is from July 25th of 2023. And like I said, I'll have the link to this down in the description. You should go back and watch it and whatnot. And definitely check out the comment section. You're going to find some funny stuff in there. Okay, without further ado, I don't smell no bacon cooking. I need to put an insert for that. So even if I don't say it, at least you guys still see it. But I need to do that. But let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's kick it off right. Here we go.
If you can't notice, it's been a very busy 24 hours for me here on DSP Gaming. First of all, I don't know if you've noticed, but based on the feedback that I received yesterday on the podcast, I've been working on my sexy, all right? So I switched up shirts, so now I'm wearing a nice tight pop culture reference shirt to be at the height of fashion, and also I'm wearing a piece of jewelry, a necklace on the outside of my shirt to try to look nice and sexy for you on the stream today. Now, the problem is...
Shut your dumb ass up. All right, I want you to peep game on this for a minute. First off, look at the bootleg ghetto-ass setup that you're going to hear him defend as we move on. But now, he completely and utterly shuns that for his new shiny setup. On top of that, all of the... I would have to say... I hate to give any lol cow credit, but you have to... I have to give credit. I'll do it. I'll take the hit. If you think about it, in retrospect, and if you give it a level of perspective, DSP did everything that LTG basically told him to, except for physically take care of himself. But as in changing, kind of, sort of, changing his manner of dress, fixing the setup and making it more professional, so on and so forth, DSP did all of it. Pretty much everything LTG told him to do, he did it. And yet again, it's the payoff factor. Okay, I did everything that you recommended. Now, now you need to reward me. You want another example? I can do that. Look at the situation with Moist Critical. Moist Critical is like, yo, the dude begs too much. He begs way too much, and you need to calm down with that shit. DSP attempts to try to go cold turkey for a couple days. He may have even gone a week, but a couple days, let's say a couple days between a couple days and 2 weeks. And what was it immediately that DSP wanted? He wanted his immediate payoff. Okay, so Moist Critical, are we going to do the interview now? Are you going to invite me onto your podcast? Moist Critical was like, no. I did that. You did. I recommended that shit for you. That shit doesn't benefit me. And I don't have to reward you. You're not my kid. You know what I'm saying? You're not my responsibility. I was just giving an observation. I was giving you some friendly advice. Same thing. But see, DSP can't tell the difference. If DSP wants something from somebody, and someone tells him to do something, right? DSP will more than likely consider doing it, or he may even do it. And then he wants to be rewarded for his efforts. End of story. And that's not even how that works. Obviously. Any functioning fucking human being knows this shit. But DSP is far from that.
sadly, I'm poverty status. All right. So because I'm poverty status,
And keep in mind, he only started picking up on the poverty status thing when FGC Twitter was making its rounds, joking about people with like people who were just starting to get started streaming, like some of these pro players or whatnot, and they were having what was known as poverty streams, which actually that right there belongs to a New York FGC guy who actually started that. He's actually the one who came up with that name. But anyway. But everybody who was starting off streaming, who were just, you know, traveling pro players at that time, they're all called poverty streams and shit when you're starting up. You know what I mean? And then once you get yourself going, once you can get an infusion of money, so on and so forth. So he's just parroting something that was going around FGC Twitter at that time, which shows you how much of a fucking sponge that DSP is, right? Like, that term has been around far before 2023, and he just started using it. Just like how he adopted all of fucking PPP and Andy's fucking mannerisms and shit. Felted and fucking coping and all that silly ass shit. He got that from them. He wasn't using any of those terms before that. You know what I mean? Look at what happened with Turkey Tom and shit. Look at how fucking he had DSP all wrapped up, and DSP was obsessing about what Turkey Tom was saying in those videos. Like, he's very much a child if you think about it. In early stages of development in his thinking and in his mannerisms in that way. But then he gets mad that people treat him as such. Well, people are going to treat you the way you act. Obviously.
streaming, I couldn't afford to get a real piece of jewelry. So I just grabbed whatever was hanging around in my office here and I just tossed it on. But
I mean, you could have went ahead and got that necklace that Panda bought you all those years ago. Matter of fact, why didn't Catherine buy you a piece of jewelry? Why hasn't she gotten you anything yet? Makes you think. It's funny how the underage girlfriend could go ahead and go out of her way to get you something nice, but your wife can't do it. I mean, not to say that, you know, your relationship is built off of materials and shit, right? You know, I'm not saying that you or Cat are materialistic, even though DSP is very much materialistic. Very much so.
at least now, my looks must be improving, and they must be getting up to standard of what's expected of a professional level streamer who would be spoken to by another streamer, correct? Anyway.
Now keep in mind how he treated Keen. He wouldn't talk to him on the phone. Everything had to be through text or by email and shit. And then come to find out, the only reason why DSP demanded that from Keem is one, to piss Keem off and hopefully get him to stop bothering him. But two, DSP was looking for a gotcha moment. He was trying to entrap Keem into something so he can use it later, which is the reason why Keem wants to talk to people over the phone. On top of the fact that most people record phone calls, especially people who circulate around Keem and shit. Keem will deny this, of course. But, yeah, that's a thing.
And somebody tell DSP to get off my dick.
Cool. Oh, the Walmart NPC in chat is telling me that I'm looking sexy today. Not sexy, sexy. There you go. Thank you. I tried to look as crispy as possible. I don't know if you do look. The hairline, the jawline. I got my jewelry on the outside of my...
Now that I think about it, what happened to that fucking bootleg military fucking buzz cut that DSP used to get? He doesn't get that so much anymore, and it's the summer. So you would think that would be something that he does. I guess all of those detractor, troll, hater, and critic memes finally got to his ass. I guess you could say he's been felted, I suppose. I just thought I'd bring that up.
Branded pop culture shirt. I'm trying to look nice and crispy for you.
Darksydephil is a stupid, cowardly, ugly, jobless, narcissistic, egotistical man-child.
I gotta be honest with you, the first time I heard that clip, I thought that was John. I actually thought that was John Rambo because it kind of sounded like him.
People's money just by sitting on his fat ass.
Go. After having reacted to all that yesterday, I laid down the law. I said, it's this simple. You're going to fucking talk about me for 10, 15 minutes. You're going to insult me constantly.
He wanted to say you talked about me for an hour plus. That's what he wanted to say. And then he caught himself. The marks of a fucking pathological liar. Always exaggerating everything to the extreme to get maximum amount of sympathy and or attention. And yet he accuses Duty of shit. Imagine that. You guys are pretty much in the same boat for all intents and purposes.
All stuff that literally has nothing to do with anything I said about you. That's fucked up. So, the only content that we could ever do together that would be beneficial would be to do a grudge match of Street Fighter 6. And I think that we should do it because I think that it's going to be something that our fans want to see. our viewers want to see. I say fans and viewers because they're kind of different. Sometimes you have a fan base, but you also have a hater base, right? Like, I think our haters would equally like to see us face off in Street Fighter 6 as much as our fans.
All right, now let me go ahead and cut some bacon off his back. Here's what this idiot really was trying to do. I'll lay the whole shit out for you. One, he was trying to recreate the the LTG versus Viscant situation. That's literally what this all is. It's all clout, and he's hoping to get recognition, to get himself back into the FGC, because at the time, during the Viscant or Viscant, however you want to pronounce it, LTG situation, Viscant really wasn't in the FGC like that. He had gotten a job, he was doing charity work, he was doing some other shit, and he only occasionally kind of dabbled in this FGC shit. When him and LTG had that beef, for those of you who know, it started off online. It was over online matches in Street Fighter 4, and then it came into shit talking, and that's what led to the arcade, where I think that was the one that Mike Watson and Alex Valle co-owned, or maybe just Mike Watson owned it. I can't remember now. But then it led to the arcade shit, which led to their face off, and obviously LTG lost. Obviously. So there's an actual real storyline there, right? There's real beef there. There was real animosity, all of that, right? There was real buildup, because there was a real story. DSP, being a surface level fucking wrestling fucking mark, basically wants to commendate that. He wants to copy and paste that and try to insert himself into the situation. What a twist. DSP looks at it as, oh, well, this is black versus white. That's what this is. And so people will rally to me just because of that. If they have to choose who they hate more between LTG or DSP, DSP in his own mind thinks they'll have to side with me, because why would they side with you? You know what I mean? Which is retarded. It just shows that DSP don't know shit about optics. And and the hatred that people have for DSP, or indifference, or just outright ignored him, is completely different than what LTG deals with. On top of that, DSP, for some fucking ridiculous reason, thought that not only his trolls, but LTG trolls were going to throw money at these guys. Why? Why? There's a huge sign when it's an unspoken rule, but it's really, at this point, it's a huge sign. There's a huge sign when you walk through the door into the Detractorverse that says, don't feed the lol cows. And if you do, you get branded as a fucking dit. That's not gatekeeping, that's etiquette. End of story. Now, I've circled around the LTG community for a bit. Most people are pretty cool. I don't see too many dudes over there who advocate for giving LTG money. So if that's the case, why would they give DSP money? They're both lol cows. And why would anybody care to do that? They're going to sit back, they're going to clip it, they're going to laugh about it, they're going to make their videos, and they're going to move on. No one's going to pay any money into this shit. But DSP thinks they will. Because DSP is hoping that, oh, well, the people who don't like LTG, they'll support me because they have to pick a side. No, they don't. They just need to sit back and watch and laugh at it. It's just two monkeys flinging fucking shit at each other. You laugh at both of them and you keep it pushing. End of story. So he thought that was going to be a thing. Then he thought, for whatever ridiculous reason, that this was going to cause some type of disruption. It was going to run interference, if you will. Basically, he was trying to have his own little mud show. For those of you who are familiar with that term, Evo weekend, and this was really going to be a blip on the radar, and it wasn't. No one's going to care, and if they do, Evo won't bring it up. FGC Twitter's not going to bring it up. Reddit's not going to bring this shit up. It'll be an afterthought. If it does get any attention, it'll be after Evo, and even then, no one's going to care. They'll just go to the troll videos, watch that, laugh, and keep it pushing. So his ambitions for this whole scenario is fucking stupid as hell, and is completely and utterly predicated on something that's already happened, and he thinks that he could try to recreate it. That's all it is, in the most lazy sort of way. And you're going to see, or you're going to hear, him try to use stereotypes and racist undertones to try to lure LTG into a situation, and LTG is past that. LTG is as racist as DSP is. I argue to say that he's actually even more racist, to be honest with you. None of that shit's going to affect LTG. And if he does use any of it, he'll be able to actually shoehorn it into something better, because LTG is a better talker. So either which way, DSP is going to get outgunned. And on top of the fact that LTG is a massive fucking racist, so is DSP. So you're going to fling racist epithets and shit. You're going to throw stereotypes at someone who's racist against himself and his own people. And you're going to get what out of him? Stop. Stop. But because DSP has surface level thinking, he goes for the lowest common denominator. That's literally what this whole thing is being shoehorned into. So in our current day, where he's bringing up the whole, oh, you're in the Section 8 housing or whatever, you're a broke bitch, you don't pay child support, you don't do this, you don't do that, whatever. LTG don't give a fuck about that shit because he hears that from his own trolls every goddamn day. Hearing it out of you don't mean nothing because, truth be told, DSP is lower than most of LTG's trolls. So he's not going to pay no real attention to that shit. Unless DSP kicks up the money, unless he puts up $5,000, and DSP's not going to do that because DSP don't have that. And that's literally what hurts DSP's pride back then, and it hurts his pride now. If he was the, first off, DSP wouldn't pay the money anyway. But even if DSP, if he had the money, he wouldn't pay it. Well, or if he did, he would pay it behind the scenes and hope that LTG don't say nothing. But he certainly can't afford it. He can't afford LTG's price then, and he can't afford it now. And truth be told, there is no payoff. That's why LTG wants the $5,000 in the first place, because there is no residual money that's going to come after the fact. That's the reality of it. But DSP still thinks he can tap into his detractors who are willing to give him money, and maybe he thinks that there are people that are stupid over there in LTG's side that'll pay money, and that just doesn't exist. It's just not a thing.
And it would be hype, and everyone would want to see it, right? I even proposed, let's make this big business. Let's get this so hype. Let's do it during EVO. While EVO is going on and they're doing their qualifying rounds of bullshit, instead of watching the paint dry, people could jump over to our streams and watch us fight.
And if EVO don't mean anything, then why are you trying to compete with it? Think about that. If the Cannon brothers, if the Cannon brothers are not living rent-free in his head, why are you trying to compete with their event? Think about it. He's trying to hit multiple targets all at once and shit, and failing miserably. He's literally trying to get the attention of people who don't care. The only people that are going to give a shit about that are people like me, but I'm not throwing no money at that. Why? Why? Why should anybody toss money at this?
And people would be hyped. I said, how much you want to bet if we did this during EVO? People.
And then this is a person who don't even leave his house like more than once a week. So how is he going to tell you what other people are interested in? Even though he is terminally online, he don't socialize. He don't understand how to read social cues and shit. You know what I mean? Doesn't really have a grasp of the English language, to be honest with you. So how the fuck is he going to be able to tell what people want and what they don't? What demand have you seen online for LTG versus DSP that we haven't already seen already? Because historically speaking, LTG's already beaten him. He beat him in fucking Street Fighter 4. It was like Bison versus Rolento. DSP's already lost. He lost clean. Like, LTG literally did what he wanted to him. To be honest. So that's already done. And that's another thing too. DSP wants his get back on that, so he can try to even it up. And then it gives him even more justification that we need to have that third match. He's trying, but look at how desperate he is just to get the second one. That's something that most of you guys haven't thought about.
Fucking EVO would say, fuck EVO, I'm going to watch this shit on my phone right now. Everyone's going to be sitting there watching it on their phones because they want to see it because it's so hype, right? So
that's sad.
I made this proposition. Let's
sad.
do it. And he, you know, the thing is, you know, during his 10-minute unhinged rant, he basically...
Unhinged? Is it unhinged or unhinged? Whatever. I mispronounced shit too, so I guess I don't have no real place to talk, but I've never really heard it pronounced like that.
He said, well, the only way I would ever do anything with Darksydephil is if I got paid $5,000. So I even said this, get that from your viewers because you have supportive viewers. Are you not aware of that?
He already gets money from them. So why, what makes you think that? Like, I want you to think about that for a minute. He's basically saying, if you want $5,000 from me, just get it from your support system, basically. LTG's already getting money out of them though. So, huh? And they're not going to pay for that. And they're not going to pay for it because LTG isn't interested in doing it. And more importantly, and this is the thing that might get lost upon some people, DSP is actually dependent on LTG saying yes, because he knows LTG is a much better hype man than him. He needs LTG to promote this shit, but he needs him to get invested in it first. And because DSP has terrible fucking people skills and shit, he don't know how to get LTG invested. So you're gonna literally tell him to, oh, if you want money, get it from the people that's already giving you money. They're gonna give LTG money regardless. So why would he need to poach them for even more when they can get it from your dumbass or get it from somebody else outside of his realm? That's like the situation with LT. That's why LTG is still bitching over that situation between him and Desi, KSI's brother, over that Tekken match they had. It must have been over a year ago at this point, right? And LTG is like, yo, I did this because Desi said that he may be able to get me a hold of somebody at YouTube that can help me get my original channel back, which is what LTG's still fighting for. And he probably should, because most people thought he'd never get his Twitch back, and he got it. So he might as well keep fighting for this YouTube channel, because he may one day get it. Anywho, he's mad at Deji because Deji said he could put him in contact with someone, and I guess that part didn't happen. But Deji also sent him like between 3 and like 500 gifted subs or some shit, right? Also, or in addition, if you will. And so, you know what I'm saying? So LTG feels jaded over that shit. I mean, truth be told, if that was really a thing, you should have probably asked for the contact information and then verified that before you even did the match. You know what I'm saying? Because Deji will wait on you, so you might as well. And Deji definitely got all the upside, because he got, what, over 1 million plus views on that shit. So he made at least between 15 and 30,000 off that whole situation. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't feel like you were adequately compensated, that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? He was doing business and you were on some bro code shit. And to be honest with you, playing at that level, you know what I'm saying, you need a little bit more reassurance than that. If that's the case, then you should have taken the steps to get it. And LTG didn't. Or LTG, sorry. There's an actual LowTierGod troll named LG. But big ups to him. But if you really wanted, if you really felt you were deserving of better compensation, then you should have planned for that, and you didn't. So LTG is jaded over that situation. Imagine that.
I mean, the guy has 3,000 paid subs on Twitch. He's making bank every month on Twitch just by streaming. So if that's the case, I'm pretty sure your viewers would love to see you do a grudge match, and they would support it.
But there is no grudge match between the two of you. First off, it's one-sided. Two, so this is charity then. So LTG is doing a Make-A-Fucking-Wish Foundation type situation with you. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that you are the poverty-stricken individual in this situation and you need LTG to give you charity? If that's the case, then come out and say it. Because according to what DSP is saying, that's kind of what he's making it seem like. He's asking LTG to do him a solid. He's trying to paint it as if this is an equal opportunity for the two of them. But truth be told, there's no upside for LTG going at DSP. Not one. Not one.
If they like you so much, why wouldn't they support you? So let them support you. Let them give you $5,000 to do this grudge match. And let's fuck.
And so you can just coast and get off of this you can get it off for free? So what is this, like 2 for 1 on a prostitute or some shit? And you just get the sloppy seconds just because you're there? What is this? Like, literally, what is this? Oh, this is sad.
Can Trump Evo. Seriously, let's just Trump that shit.
They're gonna Trump Evo. Gotcha. 2 of the biggest lol cows out of the FGC are gonna beat Evo. Sure, Phil. That makes a lot of sense. Your guys' little one day event that'll probably be wrapped up in like an hour or 2 is gonna trump a 3-day weekend. Sure, that makes a whole lot of sense, Phil. Yeah, that's a thing. Tell me that you're not resentful for not being part of the FGC without telling me you're not resentful.
Let's actually get more attendance and more interest on our stream than the Evo stream.
He's so retarded. And you're talking about those Evo streams have tens of thousands of views. Some of those streams can actually get into the hundreds of thousands, depending on the grand finals. And he thinks they could trump that. Peep the retardation on this shit.
All right, so that's where we left it yesterday. And I even said, I'm done talking about it now. Unless there's more developments, I'm not going to be talking about this topic again because there's no point. If he just ignores it and I ignore it, then it's dead. But, you know, unless there's developments. If there's developments, I'll talk about them again. Well,
You can hear how frantic he is, too. Like, you can hear in his voice the frustration, but you can hear how frantic he is. Like, you could tell, like, he's trying really, really hard to get this narrative over, and even he himself knows it's fallen flat.
Developments, okay? There's actually 2 developments that have happened, okay? So let's talk about those developments this morning. Development number 1. I was contacted by someone, and I am fascinated by the information that was presented to me.
This right here, I don't know who did this troll op, but it was a troll. And good on them. Because it was clever. It doesn't actually hold ground, but it's just enough to come across realistic enough for DSP to bite. So for whoever did it, big ups. You definitely got my seal of approval on this shit. It was very, very well done. And the fact that you had to have known that DSP is stupid. And because DSP is stupid, he fell for this shit, hook, line, and sinker, and only embarrassed himself even further. I'll get to cutting him up when we get there. But to whoever the guy was who did this, whoever the troll was, because I'm pretty confident it was a troll, big ups.
Now, keep in mind, this is just information that was presented to me. I really don't have any way to vet or confirm this information.
But yet he's going to present it as if it's legit. Keep that in mind.
All right. But I received an email from someone, and I'm going to read it word for word. I'm not even going to spin it in a way. I'm literally going to read the email word for word for you guys. You ready?
Keep in mind, there's no actual evidence behind this. He has no way of vetting it. It really shouldn't have any real credibility. But he's trying as hard as he can to big it up, to sell it as if it's actually legit. I guess go with what you know.
Why LTG is bitter about the 50K. Wings was once asked if LTG should replace you on the podcast. Wings stated that he suggested being a good replacement, but Keemstar rejected it, saying LTG wouldn't work. Word for word from the email that I received. So for background of this, because if you're wondering, what is this podcast? Why the hell is LTG talking about a $50,000 podcast? So apparently last year, Keemstar wanted to do a podcast with me.
Apparently? What do you mean apparently? You know this. So why are you trying to distance yourself from it? Oh, because you were made a fool of on fucking side scrollers. Is that what that was? Is it because that the internet came down on you and said you're a fucking moron to be begging each and every day when you were offered 50 grand for a job, basically? And you came up with all these pathetic, weak-ass reasons about it. Morally, I can't do it. It's blood money. I can't, my religion won't allow... Shut that bullshit up. You're a whore. Religion doesn't have anything in this shit. Morals and values don't fucking factor in this. You're a whore. Whores don't have no values. They just do what whores do. And everybody knows that. And you're sitting there trying to morally grandstand that you're above it and shit. You're not above it. You're just an idiot. That's all. You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. And let's be honest, Local Live, Local Podcast was a stupid ass concept anyway. At least the way Keem had it lined up. It was dumb. It was bound to fail the way it did. And it did fail. Because now everything is scripted. And everybody knows that everything is scripted, which makes it even worse. So now when you actually have legitimate bullshit that goes on over there, either A, you just call them degenerates because they're a bunch of fuckwads who can't see the situation for what it is, or B, oh, well, you're all fakers and liars anyway, so what? And all they're doing is just diminishing themselves outside of it. And that's what Keem wants. Because if all of you turn out to be just valueless hacks, then you guys have nowhere else to go. And the fact that none of you guys over there can see that shit is wild to me. It's absolutely fucking wild to me. But semantics.
And Wings of Redemption. He was going to call it the Lol Cow Cast. All right. He was going to pay us each $50,000 to do it. And then we were going to own a portion of the podcast. So if it became profitable, we were going to make money ongoing from this. However, Keemstar failed to be professional, failed to contact me in any kind of a human way because he's a fucking idiot. He thinks that everything revolves around him.
That's literally not true, but whatever.
So my whole life schedule and my business and everything should be dropped just to talk to this man who I really want no association with whatsoever. I think he's a fucking clown.
So then why wouldn't you have just been a man and said, you know what, thank you for the offer, but no. Instead, you dragged it out. You tried to waste his time because you were trying to get back at him. And in the end, you just made yourself look like even more of a bitch. Womp womp.
He's a degenerate. I hate the content he puts out. I would never want to be associated with him. So,
and then ironically enough, he gets mad because people feel the exact same way about him. So everything that he just said is literally projection because that's how people feel about him. And he knows it. Imagine that. But even then, even Keem can rope together a bunch of desperate idiots. DSP can't.
Basically, it never happened, okay? So, then what happened was Keemstar wouldn't let it go. He kept talking about it publicly. He lied. Earlier this year, he lied saying that I still have a chance to be on the show. I was like, dude, I don't want to be on your fucking show. I've said it a million times. Doesn't matter how many times you say it. Then he lied and said things like he was going to get someone else to do it. Guess what? Guess what, guys? It's July 2023. There's still no podcast, okay?
Well, that goes back into the... I'm actually working on a video for that. That goes... First off, Tommy C was basically going to be his replacement. And he was for a short period of time. But then the whole podcast got commandeered by some other dude who was like... Who has the trademarks and the rights to everything that's called the Lol Cow Podcast. And DSP was in on that. So the fact that he brought that part up right there... It'll be one of the pieces of evidence that I'll use to prove that he's complicit in that particular gay op, which is what it was.
So if anything, what this shows is that he had an idea. Without me, the idea won't work. And so it's never going to happen. Okay? If it does happen, great. More power to them. I told them, do the pod. Why is it months and months later and the podcast still didn't happen? Because they needed me for it. All right? They know that. They know I was the thing that was hinging the whole fucking thing and gluing it together. And without me, they have no show.
So if you knew that Boogie and Wings were desperate for money and they were hard up on money and they could really use the help, and you're willing to work with them outside of Keem, why wouldn't you have done them the solid until they got the 50 grand and then just book out later? It's funny. Because he tried to preach that bullshit. Oh, I care about Wings. I respect Wings. I respect Boogie. This, that, and the third. But you won't help them secure a bag, though? Knowing damn well they really needed it? But then you want to bitch and complain like a year later that neither one of them are willing to come on your little fucking lame excuse for a podcast. They won't help you out. They won't extend a hand to you. You weren't willing to help them? The DSP never thinks about that.
So, anyway, what ended up happening was for a short period of time, Keemstar was talking online saying, who do you guys think should be the replacement for DSP on the podcast? And a lot of names came up, like Review Tech USA and stuff. And I guess LTG was one. And from what I'm being told here, you know, Wings was basically sold that LTG would work. And he talked to Keemstar, and Keemstar said, no, LTG would not work for this show.
There's a couple of reasons for that. One, he can't control LTG. Two, I think I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it here. Wings wanted to use LTG as leverage and whatnot because Wings was pretty sure if he couldn't convince Boogie to side with him against Keem over whatever situation, LTG might, because they've already had a level of correspondence, plus they did that interview. And when I haven't gone over that yet, but I'm sure that like Wings 007 or Breaking Banquet or like YOLO Dick Swagger, I'm sure one of those guys has it, so I can always check it out later. But Wings was just looking for an ally. He was looking for someone that would give him equal footing. I don't know if Keem was smart enough to peep game on that, but let's go ahead and say hypothetically that Keem may have had enough forethought. Let's not forethought. He might have been observant enough to be like, and sided against it and whatnot. But I think that's really what it comes down to. But also, and this is credit to hindsight, given all the fucking racism and bullshit that's gone on fucking Lol Cow Live and it's coinciding bullshit since this has happened, it kind of makes sense not to have LTG over there. It kind of makes sense, to be honest. It wouldn't have looked really good for that. And that's why I'm thinking that one guy out of Nerds, I think that's one of the reasons why he got out of there when he did too. Because there's a lot of shit going on in that Discord that Keem won't ever admit to. Makes you wonder, yeah, maybe if you're of a particular skin tone, maybe they don't really want you around there. That's just what I heard. That's just what I heard. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it kind of makes sense not to make that a thing, to be honest. It's easier just to have a bunch of people out there that are a bit out of touch. And then when some shit slips, like when it slipped out of Boogie's mouth, when it slipped out of Becky's mouth, there's at least one or two other people over there that ain't let that shit slip too. Oh, well, I'm not racist. I didn't actually mean it. Well, you sound like you meant it when you said it. Sound like you meant it when you said it. And you were damn sure in that Discord asking for that shit to immediately get edited the fuck out. Womp womp. And in most cases it didn't. But then when you had David Jaffe talking about fucking Keemstar's fucking dick and his fucking fiance's pussy, then all of a sudden that whole channel had to get nuked. Semantics.
All right. So why is LTG angry about the 50K? Because he didn't get it. He didn't get offered it. Right? So he's mad. He's mad salty because he wanted that bag. He wanted that payday. And he's not offered the payday. Because
when did you even hear LTG come out and say that he was even interested in that? How do you get mad at something that wasn't even offered to you and that you didn't show any interest in? Wings brought LTG up, not LTG. So I really hate the fact that I have to defend this shit. But I'm going to do it because DSP is being blatantly dishonest. How do you get mad at something that you weren't even pursuing? What sense does that make? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does that mean?
no one wants him on the podcast. You know? What? Again, if you're looking...
What are you struggling about? If what you say is true, then go with it. You don't need to be having no struggle session where you stuttering like Andy Worski and shit. What's the problem? Because you know it's not true. Whatever, I'll let you play your game.
Looking at value added and whatever, people are looking at it and saying, that wouldn't add the value to the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing there. I
thought you said that the podcast itself was shit and there was no value to it, which is the reason why you weren't doing it. But now that you have to use LTG as a measuring stick, now all of a sudden, fucking Lolcow podcast or Lolcow Live, Lolcow podcast, I'm sorry. Now Lolcow podcast actually has some value to it and LTG is just not worth it. It's kind of weird for a racist to sit there and say something about that to another person who don't look like him, to say you don't bring enough value to the situation, boy. That seems kind of weird. It seems kind of weird, but whatever. I'll let you play your game.
Association between me and LTG. Well, we're both fighting game players. I'm a washed up one,
yeah,
right? He's kind of like, he was at one point kind of competitive. He's not anymore, right? But now he's prominent online. I used to be in the tournament scene. I'm not anymore. I'm washed up. But at least we have association. You know?
Not really. You're two guys who used to play games. The only association is between you and then him being allegedly the black DSP. Outside of that, I would say LTG got far more mileage and got far more respectability and was able to make a name for himself and keep it cemented in the FGC than you did. You've been there for, well, you tried to be there until you got ousted out. You were there for a long ass time, and there are very few people that are willing to even bring you up. There's even more people who don't even remember you and don't care to even learn about you. LTG's name still rings bells, for good or bad, but it still rings bells around there, around those parts. There are people who actually think he's funny. They actually think he's entertaining. He's certainly not skilled enough to be on the tournament scene. Let's call a spade. But there are a lot of people who believe that he is actually entertaining or he's actually funny. So there's that. You don't have any of those credentials, to be honest. And when it's all said and done, it's going to come out, or the narrative is going to be put out there that you really weren't as good as you said you were. You were average for your time, basically. If you were as good as you say you were, you would be up there in the winner circle. You never really got close, except for that one port of fucking Super Turbo and shit, that PS1 port. And that was it. If you were really as good as you said you were, you would have been there. But you weren't, but you didn't make it. You can keep sitting there and saying that those West Coast boys conspired against you and do all this other silly ass shit, but it didn't happen. Because if it had, then why didn't they conspire against Justin? And Justin was still living on the East Coast at that time. Why didn't that happen to fucking Yipes? He still lives on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't that happen to Sanford? Why didn't that happen to Ricky Ortiz? Why didn't it happen to any of those guys? Those guys still found a way to win. And then eventually most of them moved over to the West Coast anyway. And then I think Justin's in Canada now. And for those of you who want to defend DSP, there's probably very few of you, but if that's the case, explain to me, because I'm willing to hear you out. Explain to me how an entire coast allegedly went out their way to fucking gatekeep and hold down this one mediocre player. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll acknowledge that he's beaten some names in the FGC. I'll acknowledge that he gatekeeped himself at a bunch of fucking qualifiers. He didn't win all of them though. That's his initial story though. His initial story was he went to every qualifier in 2006, and I think in 2007 he won them all. That's a lie. He qualified, or he placed high enough to give himself seeding. And being that DSP is retarded, he can only get seeding once. They don't stack. That's why all of his placings got given out later, because he was gatekeeping for no fucking reason. He put himself into debt to gatekeep, and it still provided him with nothing. And more importantly, if he was as skilled as he says he was, then why is it that in 2006 and in 2007 he couldn't replicate or exceed his previous placing? That PS1 port in 2005, that 4th place finish, is the highest he's ever risen in the Evo series. If he's really as good as he says he is, then why couldn't he elevate past that? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Understand, like we do. We have the fighting game thing as our association, right? What relation does LTG have to Wings of Redemption or Boogie? Zero.
He's actually spoken. No, see, this is how you don't know shit about shit. He's actually, like I said, he's actually spoken to Wings. They actually had a podcast together, and they have some type of correspondence with each other. But LTG literally made his name off of shitting on Boogie. That's literally their correlation right there. And I don't remember if Boogie or Francis responded back to LTG. I can't remember if he did or he didn't. I'm sure Boogie has reacted to it at the very least. But there's certainly more, there's more of a correlation in those situations than you have with him, I think. But that's just me though. I could be biased.
Like literally zero. He wouldn't be able to relate. That show wouldn't work. I agree. If you ask my opinion, it wouldn't work on that show. It would be like worlds colliding and making no sense. It's like, you know, trying to mix I don't know, you know, peanut butter with olive oil.
Wow. So you talk about LTG and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is peanut butter and then olive oil. What is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be some type of veil reference to you being fucking Italian or some shit? You do realize, Phil, that non-Italians use olive oil too, right? You know that's a thing, yeah? Maybe you don't. All right. Well, anyway, so I'm not really understanding what that is. You couldn't just use oil and water like a decent person, like a normal individual. You want to use olive oil and peanut butter. What kind of fucking weird-ass sexual fantasies are you having about LTG where you're thinking about peanut butter and olive oil? Holy shit. All right. Well, all right, man. Hey, do you, man? I'm not here to criticize your fucking sexual orientations and shit. You could at least not be a coward and come out of the closet if that's the case, but whatever, do you?
Or something, you know, it's like, yuck, it's gonna be a messy, it's not gonna mix, it's gonna be disgusting, right? You don't want that. So, you know, I get it, but I think he's pissed. I think he's actually pissed off because he wanted that money. He's just money, man. So he's holding it against me that I didn't take the money, but then he couldn't take the spot that I didn't take.
He didn't want the spot. That's the first thing. Secondly, LTG, I think it recognizes the fact that you're clearly doing this for money and clout. So if you're broke, why didn't you just take the job at LocalCal?
Okay. Now, at the end of the day, all right, when you look at what Keem has done and what I have done, I'll probably be forgotten. I'll just be a fart in the wind, right? I got 100,000 videos on the internet. No one's going to remember Darksydephil besides the guy who jerked off on stream. And, you know, probably this WWE Champions thing will go away eventually, just like everything else. Who cares? But Keem, you know, has a big body of work. He's known. But when you look at how Keem made his money, okay? Again, I'm going off documentaries and things I've seen. I mean, Keem, you have to openly admit that there were a lot of things that you've done that you probably have no issue with whatsoever. You always feel from your perspective, because there's always two perspectives on everything, right?
Holy shit, Phil. I gotta say, this is fucking rich coming from you right now, though.
Yeah,
you're getting your information from the detractors that Keem has, and that's where you're basing this on. When this whole episode, you have been talking about how much shit your detractors have made other people think about you. Like, do you hear yourself right now?
Indeed, I do. That's the nature of the beast. That's how YouTube works, man. That's how all this works, right?
Fuck, man.
You're right. So from what I've heard and seen about Keem, you know, I call them a misery broker. All right, Keem, on a day when you have a good day, it's because someone else is having a bad day. Someone else has drama going on. Someone else has horrible things happening in their life. It's your good day, man. It's time for you to blow that up, and then you interject like a shoe wedge. Get into that life. Get into that drama, right? You got to be a part of it. And now get them on your show so that you can pull this out to be not just a one-time thing, but now it's going to be pulled on for weeks and weeks. If there's something,
Phil, do you know the internet at all? Do you know the internet at all?
Yes, I do.
Do you see who's successful on the internet? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, I would probably be more successful if I talk shit on people, but like I don't. And, you know, I do what I can because that's just where I'm at, you know? So it's like, you can't be upset when people use the algorithms for their advantage, which Keem seems to have figured out.
You're right. And at one point I was a really stupid, jealous guy. Man, I feel like I'm putting out content that's not harmful to anyone. I'm just doing gameplay. I'm dicking around on the internet here with my viewers. And this guy gets over and he's doing this drama content. People are saying it's hurtful, you know. You're right. At the same time, everyone has what's called a moral compass, correct? And, you know, I've been talking about this on my streams recently. I was raised a Roman Catholic. All right. I'm not religious anymore, by the way. So this is not like an excuse, but I grew up with certain morals, all right, and values. And to me, if the only way that I can get over on the internet and just get over in life is by stepping on other people, I'm not going to step on those people. I would rather be.
I don't think that's what Keem's doing when he's making videos.
Particular cases. I'm not saying that one documentary is the only thing I've ever heard about Keem. There's been lots of people who've.
That's what you're referencing a lot so far. So that's what I'm going on.
Can we come to the conclusion that me and you both have a bad reputation? We're controversial figures, but one of us is wildly more successful?
Oh, I'm not. I wouldn't even say I'm successful at all. So
okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Keemstar, continue with what you were saying. Okay, I think we've established this. Keemstar, continue with what you were talking about leading up to this. You reached out to Boogie Wings and DSP, 50 grand on the table to start the podcast. Continue.
So knowing how to help all three of them, all right, and then also creating a business opportunity for myself, right? You know, it is all these things combined. And not only just helping DSP, Wings, and Boogie and myself, because this is a brilliant idea, but it's also helping every single person that's in this chat right now. It's also helping every single one of your haters, every single one of your guys' actual supporters. Everybody wants this content. This is a win. This is a golden opportunity. So knowing this and wanting to reach out to help you, I found you to be so incredibly difficult to work with. Boogie already contacted you and told you that this was about a podcast. I publicly tweeted, reach out to me, $50,000, and you ignored me. Then we finally start talking in DMs, and your response is, well, email me because I want to set up a call. We're already talking in DMs on Twitter. Why can't we just jump on a call and talk right away? We're already communicating. You tell me to go email you. That is so weird from my perspective. If I reach out to the biggest YouTuber on the platform, Mr. Beast, and I text him, hey, we got to get on the phone. I got to talk to you about something. I'm going to talk to him within 12 hours. And this is a wildly more busy guy than you, Phil. All right. And that's the biggest YouTuber on the platform. This is how content creators communicate with each other. We don't, email each other. Like, we have managers to do that stuff. We have lawyers to do that stuff. I have a team of people that will get in an email. I don't get in an email ever. I'm never in a Gmail ever. You know, this is, what are you talking about? Emails. That was so disrespectful to me when I'm just communicating you in Twitter DMs. We're talking back and forth and you're telling me I have to email you in order to get on a call. I was so confused by that, but I play along. All right. I think one of my people may have emailed you or something. I got a phone number. We set up a scheduled time when we're going to call and we're going to talk about this. And I call you during the scheduled time and you don't answer the phone. And then I get a message back saying, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I was streaming. I told you I work at this time. Well, even if that is true and you were streaming, that stream is not more important than my phone call and my opportunity. It's not.
Phil, what do you think about that? Do you think that's accurate? You have an opportunity to put 5 figures in your pocket, and you kind of give us your mindset there, because
it's all semantics, because who cares how you're talking or whatever. First of all, Craig knows how to contact me. He contacted me to be on this show. It was pretty straightforward. Wouldn't you say, Craig? It was pretty easy to reach out to me. It wasn't hard to reach me, was it?
No, I emailed you. Yeah, it was easy.
And when we were able to talk back and forth pretty reasonably with no issue, correct? I don't think we ever had an issue, right?
No. I think what we're hearing here is...
Hold on. You think Craig...
And he's right. You're doing this for clout, and you're doing this for money. If you're broke, Phil, which you've admitted, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is 2023. In 2025, he admitted pre-Kino Casino arc that he was broke, he needed the money, he was in bad shape. Right? You see what you picking up what I'm putting down? He admitted back in these days here that he was broke as fuck, and that he could barely afford groceries, and that's why he couldn't improve his setup, and that's why he couldn't play all the new games. So yeah, Phil, you're doing this for money. And LTG was able to identify that. We all did. And then you admitted it this year and last year too. Well, end of last year, this year. You admitted that you were broke as fuck, that you needed help financially. So yeah, when you were begging LTG over the last 2 years to collab with you, it was clearly over money and clout, but definitely money.
Right? He's mad about that. Why are you mad at me? Why are you projecting that onto me? Be mad at yourself that no one wants you on the show. Not me. I'm not the reason you're not on the show. How about this?
I mean, keep in mind, DSP is the one who tanked, or he helped, let's say that. He helped tank Low Cal Podcast. So, kind of, sort of. But yet again, he can't prove, he has no evidence that LTG ever even wanted to be on that show. Just because Jordy, or Wings, ain't sat there and let that shit squawk out of his mouth while he still had banquet meals in his face, doesn't mean that LTG had any ambitions of being on that show.
Wings, Boogie, Keemstar, put LTG on the podcast. Make the podcast together. Give the man $50,000 and allow him to be on the show. Do it. There.
You're projecting. And here's how he's projecting. This whole situation is DSP begging LTG for an opportunity, begging him for charity. DSP is trying so hard to flip that shit and make it seem like, oh, it's LTG who's the charity case. I'm trying to do him a favor, and he's mad at me on some other shit. Hey, Keem, do me a solid and give this broke-ass bitch some money so I can get him to do what I want. The fuck? What kind of fucking mental gymnastics is this? It's not even really that good.
I want it. Give you the blessing. Take the money. But don't fucking project it on me. I have nothing to do with that. Why are you mad at me? Why are you salty at me? Because I turned it down because I want nothing to do with Keemstar. Like, what are you, out of your mind? That's fucking stupid. You say, you call me mean.
So you don't want anything to do with Keemstar. You don't want his blood money. It goes against your morals and values, but you would recommend for another person to go out there and do that? Isn't that like a conflict of interest and shit? And if you want to play into your religious angle, all right, fair enough. Isn't that like a level of like misguidance and whatnot? Like, isn't that somehow, some way... Isn't it like somehow, some way, like, I'm trying to think of what the term would be. Like intentional corruption, I guess? I suppose? Sorry, I'm trying to go off of DSP's alleged moral values and this, that, and the third. It's against his upbringing, religion, all that silly ass shit. If that's the case, isn't that kind of what that is? So you're not willing to walk with the devil, but you'll ask someone else to do it? If that's what Keem does, if he's a misery broker, if he basically has blood money, you're not willing to taint your hands with it, but you're willing to have someone else do it, and then you want that same person to come back and do business with you? Doesn't that make you guilty by association? Huh.
Dumb. No, I'm not dumb because I don't want to be roped into something for the rest of my fucking life. You know what I'm saying?
What are you trying to say? Working for Keem is slavery? So you don't want to be enslaved, but you want LTG to get enslaved? You know what? Let me stop. I'm probably reading into that a little too much. But I got to tell you, that's just sounding suspect as shit.
I don't want to be roped into something forever. I don't. So, forget that shit. I have the ability to pass up on an offer. So do you, right?
So then why are you fucking harassing him then if you admit that he has the ability to pass up on the offer. And truth be told, you didn't even pass up on Keem's offer. You tried to basically drag his ass along, purposely wasting his time. While at the same time, by the way, if you guys remember this, he was corresponding with Boogie and Wings behind the scenes, trying to get them to do a podcast with him without Keem. Hence the reason why DSP is complicit and why LolCal Podcast died out and eventually became LolCal Live. You're going to learn today. Y'all going to learn today. Well, maybe not today. In the upcoming weeks, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. Please believe.
You're apparently passing up on any offers about doing stuff with me, so I have the ability to pass up on an offer for Keemstar. There's no criticism there. You have no right to criticize me for saying that I don't want to do something I didn't want to do.
But you're literally criticizing him because he don't want to deal with you. The fuck, dude? Like, is he not listening to what's coming out of his snout?
And you have no right to project that on me because you're salty because you want the money.
But you said yourself you have no proof of any of that. You're just going off of whatever was sent to you that you can't verify. You have no real clarification of. It just, you're trying to use something that worked into your narrative. And truth be told, if it wasn't a troll, how do you know DSP just didn't write that himself? He's wrote himself fan letters before to cry about. So who's to say he didn't do this?
Anything for this, right? Okay. Now, in addition to that, there's another big follow-up, ladies and gentlemen, all right? And this is really the reason why I'm talking about this today, not the email, because the email is just speculation, right? So after my
speculation that we're treating as fact, by the way,
podcast yesterday, all right? Obviously, all the haters clipped it. It was all over the internet, tens of thousands of views everywhere, right? And, of course, here's the thing.
So why weren't we thieves and criminals back then? Duty was in pocket at this time, so why didn't Duty have a bullseye on his chest back then? Why weren't you trying to fucking sue people back then? What changed? I'm just asking. I just want clarification.
I would say, oh, LTG got wind of it and watched it, and then he responded. No. Do you want to know what happened? You ready for this? Here's what actually happened. You ready for this? Okay, get ready for this. LTG DM'd me on Xer. Not Twitter anymore, it's Xer or X. He DM'd me on the X app. Okay? Would you like to know what he said? Sure. I'm going to show you what he said right now. I'm going to show it to you word for fucking word. All right? This is what he sent me yesterday. Okay? Keep in mind, I've not DM'd this guy since June when Street Fighter 6 came out, and I said, hey, just so you know, I'm always open to a match if you ever want to do one, even though I know you're probably not interested. It was a very friendly DM that I sent him in like mid-June. Okay? So I haven't talked to this guy.
So you were deep in that guy's DMs and shit for months, badgering him to fucking deal with you. He ignores all of that, or he says that he's not interested, or maybe he doesn't say anything. And then the one time he DMs you to say, yo, get the fuck off my BBC, bro. I'm not interested. Get your own life together, man, before you start talking to anybody about anything. You take this as a personal attack against you? Okay. All right, champ. All right, hero. Let's see what you got next.
In a month and a half. This is what he sends me yesterday on X. Stop clout chasing, bro. If you want to play me. If you want to play me in anything, so I guess it's a grammar error. If you want to play me in anything, it's going to cost you $5K. But what about the 5 bands? I'm curious. I thought he wanted 5 bands. This pisses me off because I was actually contacting local bands here in Seattle that I was going to send to him to perform. But now he wants 5K, not 5 bands. So that's a little upsetting because I did all that extra work by accident. This is sad AF. Stop mentioning me and upgrade your streams. Godspeed. Okay? So here's the thing. Read that again. Stop clout chasing, bro. Clout chasing. Let's analyze this message.
There's nothing to analyze. You're going after him. He's not going after you. He don't want to deal with you. You clearly know he doesn't want to deal with you. You're mad that he doesn't want to deal with you. Let's call it a buck. Matter of fact, no. Let me let him play his hand, and then I'll play him.
Okay, let's actually tear it apart. Clout chasing. LTG actually thinks I'm clout chasing him. LTG actually in his own mind thinks that there's clout associated with him to chase. he is living in a parallel universe.
Okay, we're gonna stop this retardation right now. Let's go ahead and get shit going. Okay, this is no shade to anybody that I'm about to name right now. If this isn't about clout chasing, why don't you go ahead and play Brian this weekend, Phil? No shade. I got nothing but respect for Brian. But if it's not about clout, then go ahead, then set up a match with Brian, and you guys play this weekend at Evo and see if you guys can crash Evo's numbers. Do that. Let's go ahead. You want some more? I'll give you some more. If it's not about clout, Phil, why don't you go to Arturo and ask Arturo Sanchez, NYC Fergie, if he'll go ahead and have a match with you over the weekend and shit, and see if you guys can crash Evo's numbers. No hate against Arturo. Well, kind of over that whole tournament thing, and then over what happened with Dominion. I'm salty about those things. But outside of that, you know, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and crash the internet with fucking Arturo. You want some more? I'll give you some more. Why don't you go ahead and holler at Smooth Cat and be like, yo, why don't you guys have a match? No hate against Smooth Cat, but why don't you go ahead and holler at him and have a match and shit over the weekend and crash Evo? There's a reason why you chasing LTG. That's very clear. There's a reason why. I don't know what retardation that's about to spout out your goddamn snout, but there's a reason why you're doing it. If your name carried all that weight, theoretically, you should be able to play anybody and make some shit happen. I mean, you're never going to crash Evo or crush Evo's numbers, but whatever. You should be able to draw attention no matter what. You need LTG. And it hurts you down in your motherfucking soul that you have to acknowledge that. You know it. You know you need him, but you don't ever want to publicly acknowledge it. Yet you're literally begging him to fucking have a match with you now. And you're trying everything in your power outside of calling him the N-word to get him to the table. Whatever. Whatever. But I'm just saying, I've named what, 3 or 4 guys. If you can make shit happen, this isn't about clout, then you should be able to holler at them cats. And you should be able to make something happen. Why do you need LTG so bad? And by the way, Phil, if Brian really is your friend, call your friend up. See how he's doing. Not that he needs you. He don't. If anything, he's better off without you. But if he's supposedly your friend, reach out to Brian and see how he's doing, at the very least.
He actually thinks people care about him and that associating with him is somehow clout-worthy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
If that's the case, then why do you need to have a match with him then, Phil? If no one cares about LTG, then why are you so desperate to get this match going? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are we using forbidden logic here and shit? Is that what it is now? Now we're starting to ask these really dangerous questions that we really have no answer for? What is it? I thought you said earlier on that his audience would want this, that your audience would want this, that his haters would want this, that your haters would want this, that the FGC as a whole would want this. I don't know, Phil. That sounds like clout. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like influence. That's what it sounds like, Phil. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't understand. Like that rainy day fun thing. Maybe that's just a concept that you were never taught. Maybe that nun who you gave the perfume to, who you had your fucking snout up in the air for all them years, maybe she didn't teach you right. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
He really has absolutely no concept of reality. He thinks in his head that because he has a crispy hairline and a peanut butter complexion and he works out every day and he has a deep voice and he has the godlike setup and he has the HD camera that he...
You sound envious of him, Phil. It sounds like LTG may be up there with that John Stamos type fucking stature, and maybe we've been overlooking this. Man, that's kind of what it sounds like. That's kind of what... Didn't you make a song about LTG once, I thought? On some weird shit and whatever. Like I said, I'm not gonna slam you for your sexual orientation, Phil. It's you should just probably stop being a coward and just come out of the closet. That's all I'm saying.
He has clout. He has no clout at all. Zero. He doesn't even have enough clout to be offered to be on the Lol Cow podcast.
Wait, so we're gonna use the Lol Cow podcast as some type of stature? Like, we're using that now as a defense? Wait a second. This very thing that you said you had no interest in, that you thought was immoral, you thought it was abusive, you thought it was hurtful. Now you want to try to use that and throw it up in the LTG's face and say, nah, I'm better than you because I was offered this. even though you didn't even take that deal because it was against your values and morals? Piggy, what? All right. Okay. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
But he thinks I'm clout chasing him. I made a small segment on my podcast commentating about a stream of his that I watched an hour snippet of.
All right. Here's this coward shit that I really don't like. I hate when he does this shit. Okay. He'll be on his little podcast and talk with his whole fucking chest out, talking whatever hot shit about whoever it is. When he ends up getting a response, especially a response that he can't fight back on. Oh, well, I was just in my little pocket of the internet. I was in my little place. I was on my little soapbox. I don't understand why everybody's so mad at it. I don't understand how it's a big deal. But when he said it, he said with his whole motherfucking chest, like he was willing to stand hoof on hoof and be ready for whatever consequences that come out of it, because he said it and he meant it. But when he gets a little bit of pushback, oh, well, I don't understand why everybody's picking on me. I'm just on my little fucking stream. I'm just on my little podcast. I didn't do anything wrong. He did that same shit with Keem when Keem confronted his ass on side scrollers. Hate cowards. Holy fuck. I hate cowards. Either own up to either be ready to fight on it or own up to what you did and apologize. One of the two. But this whole little cowardly snaking away type fucking lame ass shit, I don't like that. Never been a fan of that shit.
And all I had was a few common, tame, unwild questions about it. And he thinks that's clout chasing him. Okay? Interesting. Let's continue. If you want to play me in anything, well, I'd like to play you in Street Fighter. I want to play you. But if you want to play me in anything, it's going to cost $5K. Okay? Let's analyze this portion of the DM. Okay? It's going to cost $5K, $5,000. Okay? LTG, I have something very important I need to tell you now. I hope people will clip this portion of the stream. Please do. And make sure he sees it. LTG, Mr. LowTierGod, I have something I need to tell you. It's very important. Okay? Please listen. There's absolutely nothing in this realm of existence, this plane of existence, this dimension of the multiverse, this planet, this country, the state you live in, the city you live in, the town you live in the home you live in, on the stream you stream. There is nothing at all that someone would ever pay you $5,000 for.
Damn. You equate you went ahead and trying to diminish a whole man existence, saying that he's not worth $5,000, but he's worth you ranting about day in, day out. Okay, Phil, that makes a lot of sense. Wait a second, Phil. Don't people, excuse me, just a second. Not for nothing, Phil, but let's go ahead and attack your business plan for a minute. Don't literal fucking mentally and like physically disabled people pay you $1,500 to watch your ass consume food? Isn't that a thing? Aren't you paid like $7,500 to fucking run lame ass marathons and shit? So how could someone like LTG or anybody else for that matter or for that fact not be able to get $5,000 or not be able to demand it when you have legitimate mentally and physically enabled people who pay you a couple of $1,000s to do the most mediocre, mundane bullshit? How is that not a thing? Oh, that's right, because you actually haven't performed that con yet. This is 2023. You haven't actually figured that part out yet. Ah, yes, I see. I got you. I wonder if you would say that in the modern day. I wonder if you'd be brave enough to say that. I know there's nobody in your audience that's smart enough to bring this point up, but I wonder if you yourself would be brave enough to actually bring it up. Something tells me that you're probably not.
At all. There's not $5,000 of value that you could provide.
Wow. Okay. Okay. You brave, bro. You brave, bro. All right, then say it with your whole chest. Go ahead and get the piggy titties out and shit.
You understand? No one will ever pay you that much money for anything in your life.
For anything in his life. Wow, Phil. You know what, Phil? You know what this sounds like? This sounds like when fucking Keemstar had that rant about Alex where he said that he was a third-class citizen and everybody who looks like him would always be third-class citizens compared to people who look like him and so on and so forth. If you guys ever heard that Keem rant, you should, well, see, I would, you know what? If I can find that, well, I might have to post it on Twitter or something. Because Keem's real sensitive about people putting the link out to that video. If you can, I want to tell you, if you look up Keemstar N-word rant or Keemstar Alex rant, you might find it, and you'll see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That was peak Keemstar and whatnot, and that's something that, believe it or not, there was a time on YouTube where Keemstar was trying to bury that video. He tried real hard to try to get rid of it, and he couldn't, so he let it go. And then it's alleged that someone ain't sent that to his baby's mother's family and possibly to his child's fucking school. And that's when Keem just stopped talking about it altogether. But that's why Keem is very sensitive, even all these years later, about that shit. And that's why he's very quick to sit there and say, look at all the good that I've done over the years and whatnot. I think everything I've done has outweighed that. Nah, it's not what you said, Keem. It's what you believe. And everybody knows it. And that's what bothers you more than anything. And you know it. And you know it. And that's why you have a problem with Becky bringing up that Etika shit. But I'll address that in another video, Keem. Because there's a reason. Because if you really felt like you weren't responsible for that thing with Etika, you wouldn't hide behind Etika's mother and his fucking girlfriend. If you really felt like you did nothing wrong there, you would stand on 10 toes and not bother with it. But every time that shit's thrown up in your motherfucking face, the first thing you do is run to Etika's mother. Just saying, champ. Doesn't look very good.
So it's time to give up on that. I don't know why you think that someone's going to pay you $5,000 to do a match or to be on a stream. No one's ever going to do that for you, okay? It's never going to happen. No one's going to pay you $50,000 to be on the Lalcow cast. No one's going to pay you $5,000 for a Street Fighter grudge match. You don't have that value. Do you understand? You get it? I hope this is like a big smack to the face, and maybe.
Then what are you doing this for then? Because you're not making the case that you think you are. You're saying that basically LTG's a nobody, no one cares about him, so there's no clout to be had. Are we all up to date on this, ladies and gentlemen? We are? Good. Okay. Now you're saying that LTG is not worth $5,000. He's saying that LTG is not worth $50,000. He's basically saying that LTG, not only on the internet, but in life, will never do anything that anybody would ever value him for, or at least that level of value, if you will. If that's the case, then why are you pursuing this? That's like if I went ahead and called somebody a fucking nobody, and then like 2 weeks later, I want to do something with them. When you label somebody, if you're going to label somebody like this, right? Why would you associate with them after the fact? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Once you put the edict out on somebody like that, and yet you're still pursuing them, make that make sense. So he's not worth 50,000. He's not worth 5,000. He has no clout. So what is it that you're chasing him for? What value does he have? What needs does he serve by you having to be associated with him? Don't worry, I'll wait.
you can wake up now and realize your true value. You have value to an audience on the internet, but it's not a $5,000 payday. That's absolutely ludicrous.
How was it ludicrous when you told him to go to his own audience and get it? Did we forget what we said a few minutes ago? Maybe we did. Maybe the pignosis is so good that he has it induced on himself while simultaneously trying to put it on other people. That might be a thing.
To ask for that from anyone. No one would pay you that much money for anything you would ever, any service you would provide on this planet. No one would pay you that much money. It's time to have more realistic expectations. You ever watch the old skit on SNL? It was called Lowered Expectations, and it was a running joke where people would be like, well, I guess I got to settle if I want to find a partner because, you know, I'm never going to find anyone who's like perfect.
So is that what Kat did with you? She just settled and shit? Is that why Panda left your ass? Because she felt that her value and she could do more, she could be more, and she could provide more to a man of better quality, and that's why she left your ass? I mean, I'm just asking. I just need clarification. I understand that the color of my skin bothers you to that type of point where you don't think that's a thing, but I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
It's time to lower your expectations, all right? If you really want something, be more reasonable.
Be more reasonable. So don't strive, ladies and gentlemen, to be the best person that you can be, right? Just take whatever fucking scraps people are willing to throw at you. That's literally what he's saying, by the way. Don't ever try to get your value. Don't ever try to think that you're worth more than what you are or who you are or whatever your case is. Whatever your station is in life, you should probably just accept that. You should probably just deal with it. Because what's the point of going past that? No one will ever treat you that way. No one will ever give you what you think you're worth. So just go ahead and take whatever people are comfortable with giving you. That's literally what he's saying. Sounds like a nepo baby to me. Sounds like someone who has to rely on other people to get through life. That's kind of what that sounds like. But it sounds like a couple other things too, though. That's what he's saying. Imagine having the guile, if you will, to sit there and say that to another person with a straight face and feel like you're actually competent in that. You're actually confident in saying that. I want you to really take that in. I'm actually somewhat impressed. I got to be honest.
5K is never going to happen because no one...
Now, here's my question, though. If he found someone who looked like him, well, maybe not completely like him, not like curdled milk or anything, but if he had, cottage cheese or some shit like that, but if he was able to find someone that was of DSP skin tone, let's go with that. Would DSP have the goal to say that? Would DSP feel justified in saying that shit? I want you to really take that in. Let's go. Let me go further because I feel like a dickhead right now. If Keem was talking to another content creator who was the same color as him and not the same color as Etika, would he have told him to jump off a bridge then? If he was talking to someone who didn't look like Alex, who looked like him, would he have said all the shit that he has said with whatever epithet that would coincide with what they look like? Think about it. There's a lot of people who argue with each other on the internet all day, every day. None of them seem to need to go to race or color or any of that shit to make a point. So why is it that Keemstar and the people that are associated with Keemstar have to do that shit? Why is that literally one of his first things to go after? Because he can't roast LowTierGod. He can't go head to head with him. For all of LTG's faults, and he's got a lot of them, so fuck him. The guy is kind of clever. He can think pretty well on his feet sometimes. So why is it that these two men, Keemstar and DSP, have to scrape the bottom of the barrel, the lowest common denominator, and go to race and color? I really want you to think about that. All jokes aside, why is that a thing?
Values you that much. Do you understand that? This is not me insulting you. I swear to God, I'm not trying to insult you.
I swear to God, I'm not trying to insult you, but I'm telling you that your life, your value, whatever it is that you'll ever do in life will never be worth this and this. And you should just accept that. You should just go ahead and lower your expectations because people like you will never be able to succeed like people like me. That's literally what he said. Well, you could say he implied one part, but he said the other. And then you want to turn around and say, I'm not insulting you. Damn, Phil, you're willing to get back on your knees this quickly? I thought you were willing to stand hoof on this shit. Okay, well, do what you gotta do.
I'm trying to give you reality here. No one likes you enough that they're going to pay you $5,000 for anything. Period.
I mean, people don't need to like you to offer you money to do something. You realize that, right, Phil? All right, whatever. Whatever. It's weird hearing somebody who's one of the most disliked people on the internet have the nerve to sit there and say that someone else is equally disliked, and by that proxy, no one is ever going to pay you to do something. That seems kind of weird to me. Seems kind of like a double negative, but whatever.
Okay, let's continue. This is sad as fuck. For you it is, because you literally didn't even see what I said on my show, but you still...
But he doesn't want anything to do with you from Jump Street, so whatever clarification that you're trying to get over doesn't mean anything to you, or mean anything to him. He just doesn't want to deal with you. Take the fucking hint, Phil. Jesus Christ. Take the hint. Just like that fucking hot Latina girl or whatever the fuck you were spouting all those years ago. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to sleep with you, Phil. So no, neither is LTG. Let it go. Neither is John Stamos. Let it go. Neither whoever else you're fucking obsessing about. Let it go.
Slammed me for 10 minutes, completely unrelated to anything that I said. Stop mentioning me and upgrade your streams. Now, this is great. Once again, I said I would not mention the guy again if nothing came of it. But you contacted me with a really stupid DM. All right? And he's saying, upgrade.
Here's the thing, realistically speaking. If this really didn't mean anything about anything, then why is he trying so hard to turn it into something? And see, this is the reason why you can't treat DSP like a person. Because he's not a person, first off, foremost. He's a lolcow. And lolcows aren't people. Secondly, you can't This right here is a shining example on why Keemstar didn't want to actually contact DSP through messaging. This is exactly why he wanted to call him, because he knew DSP was fishing for gotcha moments, because that's what fucking bottom bitches like DSP do. They go for fucking low-hanging fruit like this shit. They try to go ahead and take emails and text messages and extrapolate it into fucking ridiculous shit to make themselves seem like the victim and like how they're better than the whole situation. Even though, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is one man begging another man to fucking interact with him so they can do some event over the weekend to felt a bunch of other men who don't even think about DSP. Keep that in mind.
Your streams, okay? We already went through this yesterday. My streams look better than LTG's. My streams are clean. They don't have a bunch of clutter on the screen. My camera quality is better than his.
If that's the case, then what is his situation now? Do you have a bunch of shit that clutters your streams now? Is your stream layout clean? It's not clean really, because that green screen fucking cover thing that he does is fucking weird as shit. And he's also not doing that properly, obviously. And that's the reason why it phases in and out the way it does. He has a shitload of clutter in the background that I would think it would imply that he's more of a groomer / predator than actually someone who plays video games. This whole broke down poverty setup he has in the back is one thing. But what he has now literally are the symbols and maybe even the trappings of a predator or a groomer at the very least. That's just me though. That's what it seems like. So it's funny how we were preaching back in 2023, everything is so nice, everything's so clean, everything's so functional. And so what do you call that fucking trash fire of a stream that we call now? Makes you think.
My backgrounds are better than his. My entire setup's better than his. He doesn't get that because he hasn't seen my streams in like a year. So he's thinking back to the old setup. He's not looking at the...
You thinking back to the old setup. I forgot what he used to call that shit, a setup. I forgot what he used to do, fucking retard shit like that. Hilarious.
New stuff. You know what I mean? So, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Seriously, what on earth are you talking about? You don't know, you're talking literally out of your ass.
And this is literally monkey bar type behavior. Just in case you don't know what that is. It's someone who will defend tooth and nail what they have until they can get something better. And then they'll go ahead and monkey bar to that and then use the same complaints or criticisms that were used against them the first time to slander or to put down their previous situation to big up their current one. DSP exhibits a lot of that. A lot of lolcows do, though, to be honest. A lot of regular people do too, to be honest. That might be somewhat of a universal behavior. Not completely everybody, not everybody does that. But there are a lot of people that seem to do that, especially if you're sensitive. Especially if you're sensitive, I see that a lot.
So this is hilarious. Here's the ending. Godspeed. And with lickety-split Godspeed, LTG proceeded to ban me and block me on the X app so I can't actually respond.
I don't blame him because you probably harassed the shit out of him. And let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. If you look at the DMs between him and Kino Casino, you see how obsessive he was messaging them guys? I don't blame LTG for that. And here's the thing, and this shows you what kind of piece of shit he is. Why doesn't DSP show us the previous conversations? You would see how obsessively he's been messaging LTG and he didn't respond back. That's the reason why he doesn't have everything in full context here. He just has that last little message that LTG sent him. I'm not saying that he has to completely dox all of his DMs and shit. I'm not saying all that. But if you had more context of what everything looked like before that, you would have a much better understanding on why he got blocked. Because DSP understands why he got blocked. He very clearly understands why he got blocked. But since he's in control of the narrative, at least right now anyway, he can go ahead and do this bullshit and thinks he's getting over. LTG don't look like a pussy or a punk or a bitch because he ain't blocked your dumbass. You're clearly obsessed with this guy. You clearly have gone over the line with your obsession and whatnot. And now you got this weird ass pig-gnosis cockamamie story on why he needs to do something with you. But you can't explain to me why you want this to happen when you literally have said this man is worthless. He has no clout to be had. He has no influence to eat off of, right? And you're saying that he's worthless because he financially is never going to get the money or he's never going to be paid the value that he feels that he's worth. So why would you want to deal with anybody under those conditions or circumstances. I don't understand that. I really don't. But maybe that's just me.
Because the truth is, I would have just responded directly to him and not shown you this today. I would have actually just, let's have a gentleman's conversation and talk about it. But instead,
You mean like the same gentleman conversation that Keem wanted to have with you, but you wouldn't get on the phone with him? And then you admitted later that you purposely try to sandbag the situation and waste his time? And LTG is actually doing the opposite of that and just being upfront and saying, hey, man, I don't want anything to deal with you. There is no convincing. There is no conversation that needs to be had. I'm not interested. Keep my name out of your mouth. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. Sounds pretty easy to me, I would think. I don't know. Especially from two people who don't even respect each other. You know what I'm saying? I can understand trying to have a conversation and some clarification with someone you respect, but you guys clearly don't respect each other. So he cut it off at the head.
he blocked me. So why would you send me this and say, hey, for $5,000, I'll be in your content, but then block me so there's no way that I could actually respond and say anything about it?
Because you're a broke bitch and he knows you'll never come up with the money. That's why. Great screenshot. Great screenshot. But that's a fantastic fucking screenshot. That might have to be the thumbnail. You're a broke bitch and he knows you'll never come up with the money. That's why. That's legitimately why. You're a broke bitch and you'll never come up with the money. So there's no point or there's no reason to further keep correspondence going. It's done. That's why. Fantastic screenshot. Oh man, that's so good. It's so good.
What if I actually was going to say okay?
What if I was gonna? Oh, okay, if you got to start saying what ifs about stuff, then you've already lost the plot. Conversation's over.
Yeah, all right. $5,000, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. Let's have you in my content, right? So he just blocks. So now the only venue that I have to talk to this man is this right now.
Here's the thing. Why? This is a great screenshot too. This might have to be a thumbnail too. So let's peep game on this. The dude says, hey, I'm not interested. Don't bother me. Don't let my name come out your mouth. Take care. Fix yourself. Get yourself together, which is pretty much everything that was said there. I'm summarizing. Have a good day. You know what I'm saying? DSP takes it as, well, what if I was going to give you this? What if I was willing to do this? And then says, well, I want to keep the conversation going because we're not done yet and whatnot. So I can only reach out to you through this medium. Take the hint, bruh. You know what this makes me think? It makes me wonder what Panda had to go through after she left that house. It makes me wonder what kind of obscene, fucking suicide baiting, God knows what type of messages DSP was sending her in the middle of the fucking night or early in the goddamn morning to get her to come back or get her to not speak on what happened or whatever. It really makes me wonder. Holy shit, Panda will probably never tell us though. But I'd pay good money to see what those DMs and what those text messages and what those whatever, those correspondence. I'd pay good money to see what those things say. I would pay good money to see what those things say. The Panda, of course, not the film. But anyway.
Publicly speaking to you on a stream that will now end up being clipped and restreamed and made into a joke because you shut off the opportunity for reasonable conversation.
He already said no. He already said no, Phil. What are you going to do, Phil? You're going to go out here and socially rape him now? Because he don't want to deal with you? Leave that man alone. He's not some shiny little toy, Phil, that if you don't get him today, that you'll get him a year from now. Leave that man alone. The fuck? Wow, Phil, I'm getting more out of this than I thought I would. This is really sick, Phil. This is really sick behavior. And the fact that 2 years later, you're still doing this shit, and you got the nerve to say the shit that you say about most of your detractors or detractors, boy, look at who calling the kettle black.
Because you're a fucking idiot. Okay? So now, it's time to get a little real. All right? All right? Let's get a little real now. All right? LTG, you fucked up. You know
Phil,
nothing about me then, dude.
Well, let's ask this, Phil. And this is just my morbid curiosity. If there was an opportunity for you, Phil, to do something physical, box, whatever, I don't know, whatever it may be, that was a kind of a YouTuber versus YouTuber opportunity, would you be open to that? Open
No.
to anything like that?
Wouldn't do it.
No?
That's not what I'm about. I'm on the internet to share my passion for games, to have a cool social interaction with this, my viewers, my fans, whatever you want to call them. I'm not here to make a mockery of myself or, do a publicity stunt. I don't do that kind of stuff. People will say I do, whatever. It's your perspective. From my perspective, I just want to be in my lane with my viewers, doing a good, fun stuff. I have no aspirations of grandeur or anything like that. I don't want to blow up because I did a stupid internet boxing match with someone. It's so stupid to me. Immature.
That's
honestly.
fine, Phil. If I could finish why I'm frustrated and explaining myself.
Continue.
Because, look, this all started with me retiring and you having, a bad opinion on me, and then us having that metaphor of, you being on level 1. I really did retire like a year ago. I pretty much did retire. Now I'm doing DLC, but I'm not paying for the DLC. The DLC is paying me, and I'm doing more and more and more and more stuff in this space because I just love it so much. And it comes from a place of you absolutely loving what you do and loving these video games. You know who else likes video games? Wings and Boogie. You don't think the three of you on a podcast would be a good thing? You guys talking about games, giving your opinions, talking about current events and whatnot. You don't think that's a positive thing?
Keem, I just said right here on the show, I would love to do a show with those guys. I'm friendly with them behind the scenes. I have conversations.
So when I couldn't get a hold of you and I called you multiple times, it wasn't once and you ignored, it was multiple times. I kept calling, I kept DMing you, and you said, "Oh, I'm streaming now," and da-da-da. Couple weeks went by.
By the way, that's false what he's saying, but I'll let him keep going. It's fine. Whatever. Believe it as fact,
No. We want to hear your perspective. That's what we're doing here.
Did he not call you multiple times?
He called me at least once, maybe twice, but I think it was just once. It could have been twice.
The amount of times that you've said during this interview that you don't really remember is shocking.
Because I don't document this stuff. Why do I care?
But how can you say with such certainty that it wasn't you, or that he didn't call, or that all these things if constantly I'm just calling it out, or I'm not trying to come at you, but that I've just noticed that a lot. So now
That's
you
fine.
say actually he called maybe twice. Could it have been 3 times? Could it have been 4 times?
It definitely
you
wasn't
didn't even
3 or
notice.
4. It was 1 or 2.
How do I know?
3 or 4.
I'm just
Well,
I
regardless,
specifically remember when he called me during a stream, and I'm like, "Who's calling me?" And then when I went on a break, I opened my phone. I'm like, this must be him because I don't have his phone number. I'm assuming this must be him because of you get locations tied to phone numbers or whatever. And I'm like, why is he calling me when I gave him the specific times to call me? He's calling me when I said I was busy.
But
Why
even
would he
then,
do that?
Phil, you may be busy, but there's a call worth potentially 50 grand plus more on the backside of this that could take 10 minutes. I mean,
Change your life.
And once again, your true fans will understand. Look, I had to get on a phone call. This is a really important business call. I appreciate you guys. And you know what? They're going to stay there with you. They're going to stay there watching because they want to know what's happening. They want to know more about this. Like the idea of not taking a call just because you're streaming, like your fans will understand that, man.
No, and again, I didn't even know that was him. I didn't have his number. I'm checking after the fact during a break or whatever. But the fact that this guy can't call me when I'm giving him the times to call was baffling to me. So first, he won't. The true interaction here, I had to DM him. He wouldn't contact me. I had to DM him. He would not talk further in the DM about what this was until I demanded it. I'm like, dude, just tell me what you're talking about to see if I'm interested. I don't want to get on a call with you unless you just say, what if he had said something I'm totally not interested in at all? I could say, no, we're not even bothering with it. He wouldn't. I had to pull strings to get him to even say, okay, I want you to be like a host on a show. And then he wouldn't even talk any further. He demanded a phone call. I give him my number. I give him the specific times to call. He calls the wrong times.
Well,
right?
Guys,
according to what I hear from Keem, hold on, I just want to say this real quick. According to what I'm hearing from Keem, he was going to put up $150,000 to do a show with 3 guys. Like, that's a risk. That's him investing a lot of his income to try to help these guys, for including yourself. And I think a phone call, wanting to do it over a phone call, is like that's nothing in comparison to what he's trying to do. All right, I just needed to say that, Kim.
And Phil, listen.
Do you want to know why I don't like the phone call idea? Why I wanted it in writing? Would you like to know?
In just a second, Keepstar, go ahead.
Phil, now that we're talking about this and we're communicating for the first time back and forth, all right, I can tell just by how you're reacting and what you're saying back to me that you actually understand that this was a great opportunity. And that's why we needed to be on the phone, is so we could actually communicate. We could hear each other's voice. We could talk this thing out. You can ask me questions. The text conversation, the emails back and forth. All right. That's not like really how business gets done. That's how contracts get done. That's how managers communicate back and forth and do deals. But like when we're at the very beginning of an idea and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with this business, it has to be like real communication back and forth in a phone call, like it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it was so important for me to get on the phone with you.
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree? Does it make sense to you, Phil?
What I was going to say was
Sure.
the reason I wanted it in writing was very simple. All right. Again, you have to understand, Keem, you have a lot of stuff that's said about you on the internet. You know that. We've agreed to that.
But
right?
so do you.
Yeah, I'm so sick of hearing that from you.
But
Phil.
it's so frustrating
if I'm
when you
going to
say
deal
that.
with this guy, if I'm going
I'm
to deal
with
with
him.
this guy, I want our conversation in writing. Because what's to stop me from getting on the phone with Keem, having a conversation, and the next thing I know, he completely lies about what we just talked about to get drama on his content.
Phil, that's like me going to Craig. Like, hell no. I hear all this shit about Phil. I don't want him to come up here and start fucking wanking it on the show live. You know what I mean? That's like me believing what is on the internet when I think this was actually it was a tough, but it was a good show. You know, and it was a chance for you to come clean and like really try to tackle some of the shit that's out there. But it's like you're using the same kind of shit that people have been using against you, but you're using it against Keemstar. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't listen. I don't trust the guy.
You do
I just
hear it. You
don't.
do see
I don't
it, right?
trust him. I do not trust Keem.
But once
You
again,
don't know me. We've never
Right.
even talked.
How do you not trust the man when you're getting your information from the internet? The internet is not a real place.
I can tell you this.
All right. I was being very reasonable. I was being very nice to you. I had calm, very commonplace, non-accusatory, non-criticizing questions about your content. All right. That's all it was. I had no problem with you at all. And you took it upon it yourself to do a 10-minute.
Wait, when you initially asked all these questions, didn't you do it on stream? If that was the case, why didn't you direct message him when you had a line of communication with him? I almost let you slide on that. If this is supposedly not that big of a deal and it was just you having common questions about him, then why didn't you just message him directly? You know, like how you're bitching and complaining how you can't have a conversation with him anymore because now you ain't spouted off a bunch of crazy ass shit and now you're getting all weird in DMs and all that ridiculous shit. This whole situation, if it was all just a misunderstanding, instead of you running your fucking snout on stream, why didn't you just message that man directly then and get this worked out? Or get some clarification, I should say. Womp womp.
Rant about my personal appearance, about the quality of my streams, about a million things about me that were all unqualified, including continuously bringing up a 50K podcast, which obviously you're incredibly jealous you're never going to get offered.
Remember, that information, though, is not substantial. It's not verified. None of that. But we're still using it as a shield because we literally have nothing. He's got next to nothing.
You fucked up because you took the first step towards a public feud. Now, I'm not...
A public feud. He literally already deaded this shit in the DMs. And now, because DSP didn't get what he want, because Mommy Burnell didn't come through. Linda Burnell, I don't mean Cat. Suffer Cat, suffer. I'm talking about Mommy Burnell wouldn't come through with the fucking Wolverine figure. Now we got to go ahead and have a public spat about the shit. Now he wants to go ahead and try to finagle this shit into his quote-unquote grudge match to give even more justification on why they need to play Evo Weekend. Holy shit, this is terrible. It's amusing, but it's terrible.
I don't like feuds. I don't want to be involved in a fucking public feud at all. I don't want to go back and forth with you endlessly because that's a waste of everyone's fucking time. The only reason that I would ever involve myself in something like this is because I feel like we can get something out of it. All right? So
I don't want to do any public feuds. I don't want to deal with drama, except for when I can benefit off of that shit. Then I want to do it. That's what he said, right? I'm just making sure. I don't want to lead you guys and shit into a position or whatever, right? I don't want to be that. I don't want that to be a thing and shit.
I have some recommendations for you. All right? I want you to reassess your own streams. Since you're going to give it to me, allow me to give a little bit back to you. All right? You know how when you're criticizing yourself and you're praising yourself, and you say, I don't want to talk to anyone. All right? Because I don't want to talk to you if you don't go to the gym every day. I don't want to talk to you if you got a high-pitched voice. I don't want to talk to you. If you're going to criticize people, all right, at least use proper, like descriptive adjectives. Use proper vocabulary. For example, I kept, something was nagging me yesterday.
Okay, this is a struggle session from here on out, obviously. So that is what that is. Realistically, though, too, and let me throw some criticism at LTG because they're both locale, so they both can get it. LTG has had a history of speaking to people, too, to various degrees or whatever. A lot of them are misses, to be honest with you. And in truth, and I'm sure people who follow LTG to any extent can back me up on this, or at least give you better clarification at the very least, that most of those outings probably hurt LTG more than it helped. You know what I'm saying? And those are people, at least some of those people, who actually have stature, right? I don't know about Adam 22 so much now. Maybe back then when LTG talked to him, he actually had something. He don't got shit now. But whatever. Except for that one motherfucker that's up there on his show who's always raffling off that wild-ass, crazy-ass shit. And then he sits there and sends DMCAs out and shit because people call him out on his bullshit. That one hefty-setted dude. Whatever. But anyway, but a lot of those outings didn't really help LTG and whatnot, right? So I guess one could make the argument that he has a reason to be selective on who he's speaking to and whatever. I suppose. But it's not like, it's similar to DSP's interviews. It's not like LTG has had the best track record. Just putting that out there. You know what I'm saying? They're both pretty much have a pretty negative or a low batting average when it comes to interviewing with people or doing collabs. Let's just call it a buck, or let's keep it a buck.
After I watched your video, all right, your 10-minute rant against my looks, something just kept nagging me badly. And it was just the references you were making. Peanut butter complexion. You actually kept saying peanut butter complexion against yourself like it's something positive, okay? Do you know what peanut butter is? You understand what it is? It's fat, it's oils, it's grease, and it's all smashed together.
Phil, he's comparing his complexion, not the substance. You realize that, right? Like, you realize that, right? All right, I'm gonna let you play your cards out. You're already down and shit, so I'm gonna let you play your cards out. It is what it is.
Into this ooey, sticky paste. You ever actually touch peanut butter? You know what it feels like? It's gross. It's disgusting. You get it on, you're like, it's stuck on my hands. I gotta go wash my hands. I can't get it off. There's peanut butter all over me. It gets stuck to the roof of your fucking mouth when you eat peanut butter.
What are you, a dog? I've had a million peanut butter sandwiches because I fuck with some peanut butter heavy. And whatnot. I went out of my way. Actually, let me tell you one of my guilty pleasures and shit. I'm really big into that. It's like, I think it's called like Peanut Butter Factory and whatnot. Like you have to order out that shit or whatever. I mean, sometimes you can find it in stores, but for the most part, you can order. Like I get it through Amazon and shit like that. And like their white chocolate is obviously fire. Their peanut butter chocolate is on fire. There is like Reese's. You can only find it in certain places. They actually have like a Reese's peanut butter. Like it's actually just it's Reese's chocolate and Hershey's peanut butter mixed in. That shit is fucking fantastic. That shit's straight crack. That shit is straight fucking crack, bro. Holy fuck. I fuck with that shit heavy. There's a couple other brands that do or are equally good. This, that, and third. Anyway, here's the point. And all the times I've eaten peanut butter, I've never had it stuck to the roof of my tongue. Or the roof of my fucking mouth and shit. That's just not a thing and shit. I just have never had that happen. Now, when I get a fucking dog or something, like, what the fuck? I mean, you eat weird anyway. So, like, I can see maybe that's a problem for you or wings, but I don't know. I've never had that issue. So, but then again, I'm not so addicted to peanut butter where I'm eating it out of the goddamn jar yet. At least not to any extent that I'm willing to admit. But anyway, that's just not a thing. Or at least it's not a thing for me. Whatever.
Huh?
Exactly. Huh?
It tastes good, but it's actually gross. It's like I said.
How does something taste good, but it's actually gross? Wow, Panda really wasn't getting any panty time. She may have actually sexually devolved being with you, bruh. That's I mean, whatever. I had already had my theories about some of that anyway. But every day that goes by, you prove me right in some way, shape, or form. That's wild. It tastes good, but it's actually gross. Okay, Phil. Got you. I got you. Maybe that's the reason why he makes those weird ass faces when he bites into shit. I used to think he has bad teeth, which he might still. But maybe that's his problem. Maybe it's just, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a thing.
When you say peanut butter complexion to me, right? I think you're taking peanut butter, like chunky Peter Pan or Jif peanut butter, and you're like spreading it on your face, and you got these big lumps of peanuts stuck all over your head, and it looks like you're covered in fucking giant zits.
Does this retard not know that they have peanut butter without the peanuts in it? Like they actually have smooth peanut butter? The fuck? He's literally a fucking alien. It's like someone who's never actually eaten peanut butter. That's literally what, like, it's like, look at the fucking the ghost that's actually that's over there over his shoulder. It's be over his left shoulder and whatnot. Look at how he's looking down at him and shit because he's a fucking weirdo. Like, you're a goddamn alien. What the hell are you even talking about at this point?
Big infected zits ready to pop. When you say peanut butter complexion, it makes you think your skin is gross. That's the worst adjective you could use. Stop using it. Say, I have a clean complexion. I have a nice smooth complexion, acne free. Then I would understand what you're saying.
Do they not make smooth and creamy peanut butter, Phil?
If you're saying peanut butter, no one knows what the fuck you're talking about. You sound like an asshole, okay? Let's do something else. You know something you kept saying that really drove me nuts? A nice, crispy hairline. Nice, solid, crispy jawline. He loves the word crispy, okay? Now, when he's saying that, what he's meaning is my hairline is neat, symmetrical. Look at my face. My face is like proper, like, if you know, geometrically proper. My hairline is good. He kept bringing up my hairline, how my hairline's fucked up right here. See how fucked up this is? Yeah, he keeps bringing that up.
You mean the same hairline you blame on your mother because she combed your hair until, what, late into your fucking teens, if I remember the story correctly? Because clearly she thought that you're incapable of doing it? Boy, Phil, you better hope Duty or whoever else don't ever fly out there to have an interview with your mom, bruh. Because if she comes out and says, yeah, he's autistic, or yeah, he's had some learning disabilities, or he's had some behavioral problems, you're going to be fucked. You're going to be royally fucked. If she comes out and says he has some birth defects, or he you know what I'm saying, or he has some like mental shortcomings and shit, you're going to be fucked, Phil. But it would explain a lot of your behavior, though. It would explain a lot. You better hope that's not a thing that ever happens to you. Holy shit. Because I don't think Dave would say that. I honestly think Dave would, but I think Linda would. If she was prompted properly, I think she would actually say. But you better hope that no one's gonna get you talk about all the illegal shit that's happened to you. I'm not trying to give nobody no ideas. Boy, you better hope no one ever was able to get their hands on your school records or your old medical records. Which in this day and age, given how much time has passed, you may still be able to find his physical records somewhere. It'd be a shame if someone came across that shit. You wouldn't like that, Phil. You wouldn't like that at all. That'd be rather unfortunate.
But he's like the crispy hair, crispy, okay? Crispy. Do you know what the word?
And this is coming from someone, meaning me, who nitpicks almost every little thing that DSP does. This right here just sounds fucking weird. Like, this sounds weird. This is legitimately a struggle session. He has nothing in the tank. He is cracked. We're at the table and he's already cracked out. And he's got nothing left. He's running on fumes. He doesn't have anything left. And he knows it.
Crispy even means, okay? Crispy is referring to something that has been cooked or scorched to the point that when you touch it or you bite into it, it makes a crackling or crisping sound or sensation. That's what the word crispy means, all right? The word you're looking for is crisp. A crisp hairline, a smooth and equal hairline, a crisp jawline, not crispy. The only way that your appearance is crispy is if you're dumping your fucking head in a deep fryer every morning before you go to stream. So what the fuck are you talking about? You're not crispy, dumbass. You're crisp. Use the right fucking words. You sound like an idiot every time you open your fucking mouth and you say something dumb like this. Fucking grow up and use an iota of the intel. I know you're intelligent. I know you're an intelligent dude. But you say the dumbest shit and you're trying to use it as an insult against someone. Say the right fucking words, you moron. Like, seriously. Shut the fuck up about other people's appearance if you can't even describe your own in a way that makes any kind of fucking logic.
So at the time that I'm recording this, it's been announced that monetization for all is a thing on Twitch and whatnot. So if it hasn't completely unveiled itself yet, they're literally on the cuffs of it. So it makes me wonder if DSP is going to go back to Twitch. It really makes, actually the blog came, yeah, I wonder if he's going to go back now. Then again, they're going through that issue though, because I just read about this on Reddit, I think it was, that Devin Nash, who's someone I'm a fan of his content and whatnot. Devin Nash came out with some type of analysis, or it's really more of a paper, I should say, where he said that like the top 5, like the majority of the top 500 streamers on Twitch all view bot, which isn't really anything new, to be honest. People have been speculating that for a while, but semantics. Anyway, he's getting some blowback on that, but then there's some people that are saying, well, yeah, we kind of already knew that. So I wonder what that's going to be about. But anyway, it sounds like monetization for all is going to be a thing on Twitch, so it makes me wonder if he'll go back. It makes me wonder.
Logical sense to the audience you're talking to. 90% of the people listening to you are laughing at you because they don't know what the fuck you're saying. 5 bands, crispy, what the fuck? Get a fucking dictionary. Get a thesaurus. Jesus.
Oh, man.
Now that that's been, I got that out of my way. Let me get this fucking stupid fucking thing off. Okay? Now, I'd like to finish this in a way that it's going to kind of be productive rather than destructive. All right? You fucked up. You insulted me for absolutely no reason. You didn't have to, but you just thought, it's free reign for me to just say and do whatever the fuck I want. Wrong. Wrong. You don't just get to say and do whatever the fuck you want on this planet without consequences. You know, consequences have actions, pimp. So, it's this simple. Play me.
Don't you mean actions have consequences? Pimp. All right, whatever. I get it. Your heart rate's up, so you're not thinking. I got you.
Street Fighter 6. Stop being a bitch.
Wait, what'd you say? I think this might be the first rewind of the video. That's rare for me. That's not something I usually do.
At you, because
I'm usually constantly on the shit. My prime function is to resurrect the rewind button. Holy shit.
They don't know what the fuck you're saying. 5 bands, crispy, what the fuck? Get a fucking dictionary. Get a thesaurus. Jesus. Now that that's been, I got that out of my way. Let me get this fucking stupid fucking thing off. Okay? Now, I'd like to finish.
Yeah, he throws like a girl. But then I got to take that back because that's an insult to girls. That's, oh man, you throw like a bitch.
This in a way that it's going to kind of be productive rather than destructive. All right? You fucked up. You insulted me for absolutely no reason. You didn't have to, but you just thought, it's free reign for me to just say and do whatever the fuck I want. Wrong. Wrong. You don't just get to say and do whatever the fuck you want on this planet without consequences. You know, consequences have actions, pimp. So, it's this simple. Play me in Street Fighter 6. Stop being a bitch. Stop making excuses. Stop demanding unreasonable money that no one's ever going to pay you because no one values you that much.
That's so crazy, but it shows just how fucking out of touch and fucking mentally ill this dude is. After all of that, he still has the autistic drive to still say, still play me. How do you try to dehumanize and debase a person and still demand for them to play you? I don't understand. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. That literally makes no fucking sense. That's just wild, bro. That's fucking wild.
Play me in fucking Street Fighter 6. Let's make it a rivalry. Let's make it...
I thought you said you don't like grudges and shit. You don't like feuds. Do you not know what rivalry means, retard? All right, whatever.
One of the most epic Street Fighter 6 rivalries ever. Let's make it the big first rivalry ever. Let's do...
What? The big first rivalry? What are you talking about? You have Joker versus Clockwork. You have fucking Dark Prince versus... Well, you have Dark Prince versus Clockwork, actually. You have fucking Justin versus Sanford. You fucking had... You had Ricky Ortiz versus PR Balrog. You had fucking Unknown versus shit, damn near everybody at one time or another. To be honest, holy fuck, like Unknown was literally trying to take the world on. You could say the same thing for fucking hey, what the fuck? When you think of just some of the great rivalries, you can think about that time where Dominion, or that year that Dominion and his Guile took on damn near all comers. There was a time where fucking Arturo took on all comers with his Slim or Dazim. At that time and shit, you fucking have Filipino champ versus damn near everybody. You have fucking you have Punk. Well, no, I'm thinking Smug. You have Smug the God when he went on his run. You have Punk versus everybody. You have fucking A. You had when what's his name? The dude that got accused of beating his wife. What is his name? Dude out of Korea. Holy fuck! Why can't his name's on the tip of my tongue? I can see his face right now. I just can't think of his name. But when he had his match against fucking, when he was literally taking on all of Japan and shit, like, what the fuck? Like, that was the first epic rivalry. What are you talking about? The first epic rivalry, truth be told, is actually like, it's actually Alex Valle versus Daigo. That would probably be the first considered real rivalry. And then Justin Wong inherited that. And so it was Justin versus Daigo. And then Justin took on Taquito for a while, and then so on and so on. Let me stop. I care too much about the scene to fucking let bullshit like that fly by and whatnot without approaching that shit. Actually, you know what? Give me a second, because now I gotta find this name, because it just started to piss me off. Got it. Infiltration. Infiltration and whatnot. That dude fucking took on entire countries by himself. Shit. What about when Luffy, a player out of France, when he literally took on the fucking United States on his own? What about that shit? Anyway, let me stop. Just geeking out for no fucking reason.
Do it. Evo weekend. Play me first to 10. We'll lay down some rules. We'll make sure that both parties agree.
What about, actually, now I think about it, what about when Wolf Throne and whatnot out of Detroit, the D, went literally had to go against the entire United States, and there was a bounty on his head for the first person who could beat him in Street Fighter 4. What about that shit? And I think he ended up, I feel like he ended up cashing out on that bounty, I think, at the end of that. But whatever. But what about that shit? You want to talk about the first fucking epic rival? Just shit your silly ass shit up.
And both of our fan bases and hater bases are on the same page.
They're not. No one's going to, the only thing that's going to be on the same page is that no one's going to give you money. No one's really going to care. And then everybody's going to make their bones after the fact in the story. They're just going to pick your carcasses dry when it's all said and done. Obviously.
It'll be one of the most streamed events ever in Street Fighter 6. People will be super fucking hyped for it.
They're not. You're being delusional. You're being delusional with your phantom hooves. Oh man, I love that.
Let's do it. Or shut the fuck up forever.
The fuck?
Wow.
Indeed.
You know, you're learning more about, you know, business in 2022, 2023, and how interactions, you know, and the importance of being quick and nimble and things like that along here, because that's in reality that's how business works now. So
let me put it this way: if it weren't Keem, because again, I already had a negative association in my head of who Keem is. I had really very little interest in doing any work with him. If it was someone else, maybe I would have. But you know, that's the association I had. I had a moral issue working with the guy, so it wasn't a big deal to me that he was reaching out to me.
Before I leave, because I'm pretty much done, I've expressed everything that I want.
I appreciate it, Kim.
Can I give you some criticism?
Bill, is that okay?
Yeah, because I came in saying that I'd be respectful and I wouldn't dunk on you or any of that stuff, but I do have some criticism that I desperately want to express to you.
As long as it's respectful and it's not, you know.
I'm going to do this in the most respectful way, and then I'll go. And of course you can respond, but I don't condone people harassing you, people doxing you, people going into your private, you know, life and doing all this horrible stuff that they've done. But I believe the reason why this has happened is because people don't trust you. You don't come across as trustworthy. So when you're on stream and you're asking to pay utilities and rent and all that stuff, the audience is getting frustrated and they look at you like you're a scammer and they want to know where this money is going. Well, how is he always in this situation? What is he spending his money on? And that is the motivation to dive into your personal life.
Oh, okay. That was peak delusion. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I've ever gone over the entire DSP versus LowTierGod series. I kind of want to. I kind of need to, actually, I think. That might actually make it in the Gout miss now that I think about it, depending on how I'm going to play my cards right. See, there's going to be some... See, now we're going to have to go on a mission a bit. So, there's some SnortBucks videos we'd have to go through. Mighty D has to have at least 1 or 2 on the subject. That might be good. We'll go through Memology, see what they have. I know Hate Army has to have... Hate Army is the vibe, so I know Hate Army has to have some good shit on there. You know what? There's a channel I used to watch heavy, because he came out like after my first or second season in. Was it Full Bender TV? I think it was. It was called. He used to have like the lolcow versus lolcow thing. He made a few videos about DSP versus LTG. Those are vintage. I need to find those. If I find those, that might be a vibe. That might be a good look for those of you who haven't seen it. That might be the play. Now that I think about it, along with everything else I said, I might have to turn that shit into an entire series or some shit. Be like a month-long thing. Well, maybe not a month-long, but maybe I'll split it up. But that might actually be it. That might be fun. Now that I think about it, but we'll see how this goes. We'll see how the 2025 variation of this works, and then we'll go back and whatnot. We'll take a trip back and shit. I'm actually surprised. Now I think about it, I'm kind of surprised that Tevin hasn't done a back in time stream on that yet, or maybe he has and I just don't remember. I know if he did, I've watched it. I know that for sure. Anywho, big ups to DSP Tries It Memology 101, always coming through on the clutch. And let's go ahead and close up shop here. Let's do this, because Phil is fucking multiple faces, I think is a good fit. Big ups to Chio. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, in closing, actually it's not really in closing, because I've kind of just opened up a door. I mean, this is kind of something that's going on recently, but it's kind of opened up a door to make me really go back. I think one of the things that I kind of want to express to you that wasn't initially my intention, but I think it still gives clarification to it, is the underlying racism that you find in some of the shit as it pertains to DSP in particular, and trying to use that as ammunition to basically try to rage bait people and to try to get LowTierGod's Goat to try to get a response out of them. And how are you going to do something like that against someone who already hates himself and his own people? That doesn't really make any sense, right? Like, LTG doesn't have any type of respect for those who look like him. So unless he needs to. So that doesn't hold any ground. So you're not going to be able to approach him on that level. And then, let's be honest, DSP is not a very good shit talker. So that doesn't work. It's not going to phase LTG at all. I really wasn't trying to take that angle, or it wasn't an angle I was even thinking about doing, at least not right now anyway. But I'm kind of surprised that it kind of fell out that way. On top of that, the obsessiveness about it, the compulsion that DSP has and being dead set on getting LTG in that match. I think that right there in itself stands out a little bit more than anything. He's almost manic at the fact that he needs to do this. But then again, and I need to illustrate this, he's been chasing LTG down since like 2018 for a match, at the very least. He's been chasing LTG down, period, since like 2016. So take that, right? Take that and equate all those years that Wings of Redemption wanted to do something with DSP. Take all those years that fucking Review Tech USA's dumbass tried to chase DSP down. And then so on and so forth. And you see the accumulation of DSP's actual obsession with LTG, and he just can't let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to beat Evo, Phil. The Cannon brothers are never going to acknowledge you, Phil. The FGC as a whole is never going to give you any credibility, Phil. There's a reason why fucking Ernesto hasn't reached back out to you, or he very rarely brings you up, Phil. The FGC is dead to you, and vice versa. You need to let that shit go, but you won't, because I think You're waiting for enough time to go by and enough people to fade out or die out. And I hate to say it that way, but that's my best way of expressing it. You're waiting for either enough time to happen to where certain players or a certain demographic of players either fade out or die out so you can try to get back in. And you know that's going to take forever, or you may not live long enough. So that's why you're trying to buddy up to Justin. Through Justin, you think you can get to Max. From Max, that'll go ahead and get you plugged into pretty much the North and South Cal or Soul Cal and whatnot. And all the influence that they have there, which is fucking Mike Watson, Alex Valle, and all those old heads, right? And then you think you can go ahead and work yourself back over to the East Coast, and it's not going to work. You clearly don't have the sense of direction, nor do you have the will to do that. So you're just going to wait for time to pass and hope things work out. That's just not the day and age. And LTG is not going to fast track you. For all of the L's that LTG has taken, and he's taken plenty daily and whatnot, he knows that his name still carries some type of value in the FGC, and he's not going to waste that on you. Not at all. Especially if, and this is the thing that you really need to take into consideration. Excuse me. Because I was thinking this during this time, actually, when the whole 5,000 thing comes up. If DSP did pay the $5,000, who's to say that LTG just doesn't show up, lets DSP beat him, and then moves the fuck on? Or only plays half-ass and still wins? Then what? Then it doesn't prove anything. It literally doesn't prove anything. And LTG will stand on business on that shit. So even if people don't believe him, they'll still go with the narrative. So that completely drowns out anything that DSP says or does. And because DSP has already lost to LTG in the wild, in an unplanned situation, I don't know if that was put into the description of the last video. If not, I'll make sure it's in the description of this one and in the last one. If it's not there now, where they had that one match, and someone actually has both sides of it, right? So they have both perspectives, I should say, all in one shit. You should watch it. You should literally watch it, and that right there tells the story. To be honest with you, that literally tells the story. Fucking LTG mollywopped the shit out of his ass. So there's that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, because like I said, Evo weekend is literally the weekend I'm recording this, and DSP is coming back today. Today's being Friday, August 1st to be exact. So DSP is gonna, I'm sure he's coming up on stream. He's gonna say something. Now, whether LTG has responded yet, at least at the time that I'm recording this, I don't know. I'll look. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But because LTG privates all of his streams or whatever, there's a thing. Speaking of which, someone actually reached out to me a couple months ago. Big ups to them. And they said that there is a guy who does archive LTG streams. And I was asking, should I just go to the Kick streams and see if I could, because LTG dual streams. He dual streams on Twitch and on Kick. Should I just go there? And the guy said, no, it won't work. You'll find out when you get over there. It was probably like a month or two ago I went over there and I found it. The reason why is because all of LTG streams on Kick are subscriber only. So he makes sure he gets rid of everything on Twitch, but on Kick, everything is subscriber only if you want to get to his archive. Excuse me. If you want to get to his archive. So unless you're there in real time getting it, you're not going to get it. But there is a YouTube channel that archives LTG streams. So if anything pops out over the next few days, hopefully they'll have it. If not, I'm sure there'll be people that'll clip it or whatever. Not send a brother a link. You know what I'm saying? Drop me a link if anything fell through or whatnot, or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. There'll definitely be more of these, because holy shit, I want to go through their entire history now. And like I said, it was interesting in the last video, I'm pretty sure, how Kenny Omega was kind of in there for a bit, but LTG never reached out to Kenny Omega. That was DSP, and then that fell through. And then DSP has been dead set on fucking LTG ever since. It's very fascinating, very interesting stuff. But in any case, thank you guys very much for listening in. Very much appreciate it. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Take care of yourselves, my people. Just take care, and then, like I said, we'll see how Evo goes, because that new Marvel game is supposed to be unveiled, so that's going to be fun. I'm anxious to see how that works out. And let's see how DSP gets manic and tries to hold people's attention over Evo this weekend. I assume not well because he never does well during Evo weekend. But whatever. Catch you guys on the flip later.